time. Wait like 6 months or something.
Oh, I
You should
agree.
do it the opposite one, so to speak, with source books.
I agree 100%.
Because I thought this would be going to be, but I love this. This was a great exercise, and I found so much cool stuff. That's why I kept at it, because I found heraldry, I found lots of stuff that I missed. And I also going to explain how I'm rating them the way I do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Because I think we should all do what we value in these, so people can weigh our meaning if they should disregard what I think or not, so to speak. Because we emphasize different aspects of the adventures, I'm sure. It's getting hot here. It's like 100 degrees.
Yeah, I heard
yesterday,
it.
Yeah, it went from 60 to 100 in a day and a half.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space. As you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh. Did we? That's cool. I can pivot. The smell of smoke curdles in your nostrils.
Yeah, the film girl project. She said she went to a Ren fair in California over the weekend, and people were passing out due to heat stroke. It was like 107.
3700.
Yeah, and the thing was that it increased by 50 degrees in like 24 hours.
Survivors scraped by with
Oh my gosh.
It went from 60 to 100 in like a day, from one day to the next. So it was like a shock to us all. And we are kind of used to heat here, but not those sudden shifts. Not that much. This was brutal. And he's going to go back down to 60 again in a few days.
Yeah, it was.
How do you do that?
Crazy.
So it went from cold for the season to hot for the season in a day.
Oh man.
Yep.
All over the place.
Yep.
I know. Erik and Joe said right around 6:50. And then Carlos will get on it when he can, and Rick will come on when Carlos comes off.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was going to be this much fun and this much work. It was fun and it was work. So, yeah.
Well, and I'm going to do a show post all over about what we came up with. You know, for the community. Yeah. I think it's a good list. One surprises me a lot.
Okay.
Actually, two surprise me. Because we're going to do top 15. Because there's a clear, from my data, there's a clear 15. And then it gets murky after that.
Yeah. And the funny thing, there were several on my list that surprised me. So because I had to kind of go through them. I was like, oh wow, that was one that really surprised me. That someone in the community will be very happy over that I put it that high. Yep.
How's everyone doing there?
Quite logged into.
Hey, Vamp. I hope you're okay now, man.
Zagig will test the enduring.
That's why California wines are good. Yeah, absolutely. I'm down. Let me test my shout-outs, which I didn't do. Oh, good. Oh, good. They're just delayed. Whew. All right.
Oh, yeah, good. That was a wave. Yeah. That was... Asher the Bear got hit too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he got hit too. They tried to hit me. And
really?
That's why I forgot, because he sent me a message asking me, can you please test the computer software me and a friend is trying to develop? And it was like, this is like, no, I'm not going to test that. So I wrote that back, and they were starting to use like nerdy slang, and I was like, no, that's not the Asher the Bear I know. So I was like, weird. no, that's not it. So I sent him a message, another channel, and he just figured it out when I sent the message. So then I went out. So yeah. So they asked, and this is kind of a good reminder to everybody. They asked you to test something they were working on and was going to send a link and if you run that in a browser, you would have been affected too.
Oh, geez.
It's some sort of script that installs some bullshit in your computer.
I try and stay away from that as much as possible.
That's why I run my email and my email and stuff like that. That is really sensitive. I run in a virtual computer, and all the other stuff I run on a separate computer. So even if that gets infected, it's only my streaming and stuff, not my main computer. I don't run any of that stuff on my main computer.
Cool.
Soon I will not do any surfing or use a web browser on my main computer. I will always use that on a secondary computer, because it's going to get worse for a few years before it gets better.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad to hear they fixed it quickly.
All good, yeah.
Darling, your good friend Erik Marno will be on shortly. Tonight's going to be awesome because, well, let's just say all of us have put a lot of work into this one.
Yes, I don't dare to admit.
Yeah, I can see how much work you put into it by the level of detail.
Yeah, and you haven't seen all the. I have the points for each of them. I put in 70 adventures.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I went through my whole aisle. And all the Dragon and Dungeon magazines that I saw on the list that had an adventure that was tied to GREYHAWK. Yeah. And so, Rick, I rated 72 adventures, I think, all in all.
Rick's got a good list of all the justifications as well. Alan Growy's got a post on his Koros Quill about it.
Yeah, and he put it on.
Yeah, so we got like stuff everywhere, and
yeah, this is good. We should do it for the various things. Like every 6 months or so, we should do another category.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
No, this is going to be an awesome discussion because this is we are the community, so this sticks. This is good. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is official. You know?
Yep.
I am looking for. I got my shout out so all mixed up. There we go. On this one. Yeah, Sam, I'm gonna hold because I don't. I'm gonna hold you and get you on too. We're gonna have people running in and out. I'm gonna wait till I gotta see when Carlos is hopping on. Get Carlos in and out, and have you and Rick come on. No, Sam's list is. Sam's list has something on it that threw the top 15 off. So, oh yeah, Erik was funny there, Michael. Erik was very funny. He put Return to Temple of Elemental Evil and Puppets on there, and that made me laugh. But you gotta remember, Return to Temple of Elemental Evil is like in the top 10 of greatest adventures of all time on that top 30 list, which is so ridiculous.
Yeah, it didn't make my list. And I try to be positive to everything that I reviewed. So I try to see it, and I had a special criteria. Let's see here.
Yeah.
There we go. But I have most of my top 10s.
Well, Puppets and then some, darling, should be in the top of all
that's
time,
a different.
because it was so awesome.
Different ones. You have to write it, put it in at least put it out PDF format so we can have it for the next round.
All right. We're early, so everyone sit tight here.
Yeah, I need to.
Just making sure I got them both on Facebook Messenger, making sure I don't have any weird messages. Here comes Erik Mona. All right. There he is. Erik. Okay. We are good. Joe Bloch will be on shortly.
Yep.
I gotta trying to figure out when Carlos will be coming on, and then I got Sam, Rick. Well, Joe Bloch will be on the whole time, and then Sam and Rick Dewey Carthon will be on at some point a little bit too. Hold on one second here.
This turned out to be.
I do not have headphones in right now. Should I?
No, you're okay.
Well, audio is live, but not.
As long as you can.
Yeah, it's okay. We can hear you, but it might be a little bit of echoey. We'll figure that out.
That's
so,
my
yeah.
fear. So let me see if I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe Bloch, here he comes. All right, we got our main first guest on. They'll stay on the whole time. Right. Awesome. Sit back and enjoy this, everyone. Carlos is responding back to me shortly here.
Yeah.
And I have everyone's piece of their games.
You all can hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
We can hear you.
Great.
Loud
Hey,
and
Erik.
clear.
Yeah,
How do I see the chat again?
just go to twitch.tv.
Lord Gusumba.
Yeah,
Lord
let me
Gusumba,
one second. Let me put that into. Let me
Yeah.
put that up for you there. So good evening. What a we're live. Yeah, right. Yes, we're gonna have. This has been in the works a long time, long time, and I'm so excited about this. We're gonna have. We'll go over some background, some history, where we are and where we're going with GREYHAWK. Wait a minute. What, Twitch. Here comes Joe. There you go. That should be it. Unless I spelled it wrong, but that looks right. God, tonight, some of the greatest minds in history
No.
for GREYHAWK have participated in this undertaking.
That I might agree with, yes.
I participated in this.
Me not included in that club, but that's the, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Carlos is going to come on 7:15. After that, we'll throw on someone else. He'll be on for like 7:15 for like 10 minutes because he's at work. So, Erik, Joe Bloch, Adam Meyer, welcome.
Hello.
So, did you guys all have fun with this? That's what I want to know to start off. Was this good?
Oh God, yeah. I put in an inordinate amount of time. It took like all day yesterday to score things and stuff, and it was like, I go through my bookshelf, and I thought I would skim over it, and then 5 hours later, this is fun, this is interesting, and I put notes, and the whole day went.
We have so let's get a little background on this. So back in 2004, whose idea was this at first, Erik, to do this?
Oh, it was mine.
Beautiful.
It was my idea.
Oh, awesome! Thank you, Erik.
Yeah. Back in 2004.
Any gimmick to sell a magazine.
Yeah. And okay, you'll be surprised because there's stuff on here that's like in the top 20 of GREYHAWK all time. In this, an all-time list, ain't nowhere near in the GREYHAWK list. You'll see. I mean, there's some.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Plus, there's stuff that was published after this that I guarantee.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. So.
Which I included nothing. Yeah.
I know, and that was very humble of you, Erik. I didn't think you should have done that, but we're gonna see a lot of surprises tonight. So I invited 13 people to participate. I got stuff back from 11. Okay. And we'll go over all those people, and then at the very end, we're going to show our top 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jay, now you have to tell a little bit the audience what the rules that you set up, so to speak, because you were a little bit particular here and there, and freewheeling on others.
I'm going to show this, and this is like my spreadsheet showing myself, Anna, Erik Mona, Carlos Lysing, Joe Bloch, William Henry Dvorak, GREYHAWK Mike Bridges, Les Oblivion Seeker Reno, Sam Wise, Rick Dewey Carthon Miller, and Grow Dog Alan Growy. I have two that are missing, but hey, I think we got a good set from this. On this, there are 76 or 77 different recommendations.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Yep.
I asked everyone for a top 10 or top 12. I had a point system that I worked out. Honorable mentions got 1.2, so if you could put a whole bunch of them down. So, and then we came up with this. The top one got 30 points. There are some ties we're going to break here. Hey, Naz, thanks. But wait till you see some of these. I mean, this was really, really cool. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to go over some of our picks. In a minute, Carlos comes on. We'll give Carlos the 10, 15 minutes because he's at work. Then Rick and Sam will join us after Carlos hops off. And then, we'll see what we're going to come up with. Maybe we'll have some arguments and some discussions. But I think that this list, when we go down, and I'll do the from 15 to number 1 at the end that I've compiled, there are ties that we're going to need to break on here. As you can see on this list, there is a tie for 4th and 5th, and a tie for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Okay. So we'll have to figure. Yes, so we'll have to figure those out tonight, all the way down to 15th. And notice I hid all the titles. All right, and then until the end. All right. So, but everyone's rankings are up there, ranked from 1 to 12, and 13s are all. If you see a 13, that's an honorable mention, and they got 1 point for an honorable mention. So you go all the way down here. Look at all the ones. There's a whole bunch of ones down here. A lot of 13s. So, all right. Okay. So introduce yourself, Eric and Joe, please. Eric.
Hi, everybody. I'm Erik Mona. I have written some stuff for GREYHAWK. I was a former editor of Dragon and Dungeon magazine. I coordinated the original 30th anniversary list. I've been a fan of modules. I'd say actually that's probably the thing I like the most out of the whole, panoply of Dungeons and Dragons products. It's the thing I like to write the most, and it's the thing I like to read the most. And I'm currently decided to get back into playing some old school D&D on my own free time. It is not by definition a GREYHAWK adventure. I'm playing in Search of the Unknown, but I'm using the 1978, the original version.
That is a GREYHAWK mod.
Exactly. Thank you, Joe. It says you could set it in a handful of different places, including Radek, which is where I've set the campaign. So it's been fun to kind of adapt not just that, but the B2, B3, and maybe even some of the further ones into a GREYHAWK context.
Some of them got on the list.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah. One was very surprising.
Yeah, we might have some disqualification discussions then.
Absolutely. There's one in particular. There's one in particular that was ranked number 1 by someone that I was like shocked. So,
it's funny. I think we're going to have an interesting conversation because I think there is a B series adventure that is beloved by almost everyone that is not in any way, shape, or form a GREYHAWK adventure.
The Lost City?
But that I don't like very much, and we can talk about that.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of...
But this is going to be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been looking forward to do this the whole time. Unfortunately, yes. Gary, family things came up with Gary. But we have, like I said, 11 people have taken time out. And everyone who we've asked is well respected, including the gentleman now, Joe Bloch. Joe, introduce yourself, please.
Hey, my name's Joe Bloch, also known as GREYHAWK Grognard. I run the GREYHAWK Grognard blog and YouTube channel. I publish BRW Games, which does all kinds of old school stuff, Adventures Dark and Deep, Castle Mad Archmage, and I also am publishing official GREYHAWK stuff now on DN's Guild. Hallelujah, they're
beautiful.
Allowing it. So yeah, I had an article published way back in the hoary days of Dragon magazine before Erik took over, back in the glory days of TSR. Hey. And I've been playing in GREYHAWK since there was a GREYHAWK.
How many of us here use Crovis in our campaign? Raise your hand.
Oh, sure.
I've used it once, back in the day.
That's it, man. Mm-hmm. I love it. Love Crovis.
Visit the Pomarge and Die article.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forced a bunch of players into that experience. Go to the Pomarge and Die.
Old DM says, I bought all your hardbacks, Joe, so there you go. So we are going to have fun with this. So once again, I reached out to the people. So sorry. I know I can't reach out to everyone, but we went with a dozen plus. We got 11 back. I think that's fair. We got a really wide swath with 76, 77 selections. And like I said, when the second Carlos comes on, we'll hit him up. Dozen is crazy, Naz. So we got a bunch here. So let's do this. I got everyone's in hard copy. Let's go Joe's first. Go to Joe's. Here's your, and let me go here. I turned them all to PDF, so snipped them all, cut them. Like I said, this was a busy preparation. There is Joe's list running. So some interesting ones on there. Absolutely. Joe, give me Give me one you were shocked that you put on the list.
Well, I'm not shocked that I put any of them on the list because they all make perfect sense to me. But I think what's going to shock a lot of people is what I put down last on my list,
Qualish.
which is the Lost Laboratory of Qualish. And I know because it's the only 5e adventure on my list.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people don't like it because it took some liberties and did some things. It made Qualish a gnome and had all the other little things like that. But it really is a top-notch adventure in and of itself.
Okay.
And I just anything that that brings to life one of those named personalities that we didn't really know much about before is just like candy to me. So that's why I threw that on there.
I'll say this: Joe is like one of the most mainstays of getting a lot of the top 15 head on.
Yeah.
But yeah, but let's talk 8. Dungeon Land and Beyond Magic Mirror. Do you just love those?
I love them in and of the for what they are, but
Okay.
I also love them because they're one of our few glimpses into Gary's original campaign that we saw that referenced in the DM's guide. He ran it for his players years and years before it actually made it into print. So it's one from the old day, the really old days before all of this stuff really got published and finalized and everything. So just for the historical value alone, I love those 2 modules.
That sounds good. That works. 1 second here. We're doing classic D&D reprint giveaways tonight. I forgot to start it. There you go. Start it up now. Sorry about that.
And something else I think will surprise people or maybe throw them off is that I separated out Village of Hamlet from Temple of Elemental Evil.
That is, just wait and see at the end.
I was going to say.
A lot of people did that.
Okay, maybe I'm not too off the base then.
No, that's what I just said no GDQ because I hated that when that was done the original one.
No,
because
that was guys.
Yeah,
that was me. I cheated on that.
Yeah, you wanted to make sure that was number 1.
If I allowed those to be individual ones, they would take up like a third of the list. So that's why.
I put it on my honorary. I didn't dare to put them in the top 10 because I would upset. No, I'm just kidding.
What we're talking about is if we go down here to page 68 on this Dungeon magazine, you'll get to where is it? 68. Here you go. Oh, it's backwards. But number 1 is that Queen of Spiders GDQ. Yeah, it makes sense.
If I hadn't aggregated the votes for the different, and I think I might have done the same thing back then, Jay. It was like you can do, a lot of people would do like Against the Giants or whatever.
Yeah, which we got.
I added all of those votes together to make this one number 1 because otherwise it would have been. This wasn't why I did it, but if I had not done that, then Ravenloft would have been number 1, which I think is a fairly non-controversial choice. A lot of non-GREYHAWK fans would probably.
That was groundbreaking, right? It changed the style of how modules were written. I know Leonard Kafka said it was his favorite beyond anything he wrote was Ravenloft. So. Which was a shocking thing, and then we're gonna have a Leonard discussion on this coming up too. I guarantee you on that because I was surprised, and we can talk about that. I was really surprised on that direction, but yes, Joe really has nailed a lot of these because you have and here's another thing. Eric's being humble. Number 7 is Expedition to the Ruins of GREYHAWK.
And I don't have the original on my list at all.
But you have you have the 2nd edition one, GREYHAWK Ruins.
Yeah,
You have the 2E version.
Oh, you don't have Castle GREYHAWK on your list?
Castle GREYHAWK did not make my list.
I didn't make my list either. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Erik rescued GREYHAWK Ruins. GREYHAWK Ruins isn't bad in and of itself, but he really added so much of what we knew was in Gary's original. The God Trap and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I might have a quibble here or there with some of your design decisions, Erik, but on
there
the
were
whole,
two other guys on the book. I'm going to blame
them. That's why you have co-authors on the book.
Exactly. But just being able to throw all that real GREYHAWK Gary lore in there, which the original wasn't really able to do all that much, was just perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I'm prepared here. There's both Blake Mobley and Timothy Brown. I don't know if I know either one of them on this.
I actually wrote them.
Timothy Brown. He's cool
Yeah?
guy, actually. Yeah,
Excellent.
I like Timothy a lot. I don't know Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote them when the module came out, and I asked them, "Where's all this stuff? Where's the Fountain of Snakes? Where's this great central staircase? Where's all this stuff?" And they just like, we don't know.
There's so many maps we just don't know. Yeah.
Because they weren't working off of Gary's stuff at all. They were they're themselves. So they just said, I still have the letter somewhere. I have a scan of it.
That's cool. Hey, Michael, thank you. Michael Z. Frog God.
Yep. Thank you.
So expeditions, and we'll get to those. So
I was really happy with the cover they gave us for that book, by the way.
Mm-hmm. With the bald Mordenkainen?
Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
Just the quality of it, I think is really good.
Hey, Mike, thank you. Good old Mike Disney there, everyone. So, my God, I wish I had straightened my shout-outs out that they were the same down below as they are up top, but they're not, and I can't find shit.
I can't understand why you don't standardize those things. Yeah.
Oh, and I just
drive me crazy.
Yeah, I know. There we go. All right, so let's do a list of someone who's probably not going to be on. How's that sound? Sure.
By the way, Joe, that's a great list. There's a couple on there that I'm just like, God damn it. But then but also there's ones that I wouldn't put on my list, but I like that you did. Like I didn't put the expedition or the Magic Mirror and the Dungeon Land, but I did put other stuff on for a similar reason, which is that I like that GREYHAWK has the ability to kind of pivot and be weird or funny or odd or whatever.
Like Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
That's the one I put on for that exact reason. You know, and
I didn't include it on mine because for some reason it just never gelled with me. It's not that I don't like the concept. Because a lot of people just I don't want to mix sci-fi with my fantasy. I don't care about that at all.
Right.
But I just found it a little, I don't know, overwhelming when I was younger, and I never really got into it.
Yeah, I think maybe that I was intrigued by it because it was overwhelming in some way. And but yeah, I think that there's an element of GREYHAWK that is indelibly Gary Gygax's. And I don't think that those two adventures, but 3 adventures by him, I think are emblematic of his sort of irreverence, but also his just sort of like magpie, I'm going to collect this and that and this and put it all together element.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of it because I think GREYHAWK is great at like being the official D&D setting and being the original D&D setting. And I love its fidelity in some ways to the themes of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in general. But I think there are elements where it becomes part of like, what is Gary into, not just like, what is D&D about? And I really think that's critical to the appeal of GREYHAWK, because otherwise it's just a really well done vanilla kind of AD&D setting. But these elements make it something unique, and I think that's really important to be represented.
In fact, my honorable mention. Are we doing honorable mentions yet?
We can, Joe, but
if you want to wait, we can wait. I can
talk all night about this stuff.
Yeah, we are. I can't tell you this one's going to run a little late tonight. There's no doubt about it. No, God, what I was going to say was, Eric, have you talked to Andrew Scott Perry at GaryCon yet? Have you talked to him, the head of Warp?
No, I don't.
Okay, next year, let's sit down with him. Their entire campaign setting is based around Expedition to Barrier Peaks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's like he's got their own custom thing going on there.
Well,
you guys, for Warp. Yeah.
I think I have said this on the podcast before. This is going to be really awkward, but I don't have a copy of Living GREYHAWK Journal #1 with me right at this desk, but I do have the. Let's see if we can get that on there. Can you guys see the original?
Yes.
Painting?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh awesome. Yeah.
So that's the Brahm original, and that character, that big golem, is the boxing robot from Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. So I'm such a fan. I had Brahm paint it.
Awesome.
The legendary Carlos Lysing is on. Carlos, welcome. I know you got a limited amount of time.
I really do, yeah.
So let's hop into your list, which I got up.
Let me predict what his number 1 is.
What? Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Joseph. What is it?
I'm going to guess that is the Slave Lords.
No.
Is the
You're
number
wrong.
1.
No.
Nope. You're wrong.
Way
really?
Wrong. I know what it is. I knew what it is. Here we go. So look at number 1 is Lost Caverns of Shokanth. Shokanth, and then 3's Tharisden. Carlos and Carlos agree with me on this a couple years ago. Tharisden should be run first before Shokanth. You should invert them. And I think that makes it even more momentous at the end with Drelsna and the David's Wonder Slanthorn and everything. Your thoughts, Carlos?
Yeah, I totally agree. That was always the way that I approached it. Was I thought that the denouement of the adventure works better with Drelsna being your final, the so to speak, the big bad evil guy. But that's always worked best for me. For my list, I went with there was a lot of factors I took. One of them was just how fun they are to play. But I also took into account, what I thought had the most impact historically, and then what had the most Greyhawk lore and things like that. And when everything came down to it, I just remember being a 12-year-old kid laying there on my stomach in front of the fireplace in my house, reading Shokanth for the first time as a kid, and just having my little mind blown. Yep. I mean, that just all the new demon lords and Drelsna and all the different things that were involved in there, all the history of Perilyn that you could pull from there, and it totally rocked my world.
Plus the extra booklet that came with it.
What's that?
The extra booklet that came with Shokanth. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. The monsters and all. It was so awesome, man. It was just like, wow, this is great. You do have a big surprise on here, and that is you like Against the Giants Liberation of Geoff instead of G1 through 3, which that hurt G1 through 3 in the final thing because it went, it's just a different,
Yeah, when you told me that G1 through 3 would be allowed to pick that module, I took Liberation because Liberation actually not only has that in there, but it also has some supplementary material in the region. And again, one of the things that I looked for my list was what is adding the most and some of the better stuff to the setting as a whole. And as a result, having Liberation in there was good for me because I actually liked how they expanded the region a little bit more and gave us a little bit more meat to work with in the area. So that was why I took Liberation. To me, it's the definitive Giants treatment. So that's why it ended up in there. You asked Joseph earlier about what surprised him that made it for him. The only thing that for me, well, obviously my answer is the same as him, that nothing surprised me that made it because I made the list. But I guess the order that I put things in is kind of what surprised me. And having Estral Abyss in there is it surprised me because number one, I don't play 3-5. But I found that module, the whole tenor of it, and the way that a lot of the use of Belgos and Salusa, for example, in there was just so many things in there, and expanding Istabin like it did, it just really resonated with me a lot. So I like that. I like that adventure quite a bit.
Was that Vaughn or Eric Boyd? Who wrote those?
Boyd.
Boyd, yeah. So, yeah. Really a cool series.
And Return to the Tomb of Horrors on there again. It's a cheat a little bit because I chose that because it does include the original Tomb of Horrors in there. But again, Bruce Cordell, I think he's a master, and I thought that was really a well done expansion of the module. Joseph, it should be no surprise to him that I picked Slaver's Stockade. That's my Slaver's module. Marquesa is basically all I have to say.
Her first Marquesa.
You built the whole business on that module, on riffing on that module. So that's why I assumed it was number one.
Yeah.
No. If I thought that I could get away with saying all 4 Slavers modules, I would have probably put it a lot higher.
Okay.
But I kind of had to take them apart based on the conceit of the exercise. So.
And you're not the only one. The Slaver's Stockade got higher votes than A1 to 4 altogether. Mm-hmm. So it's that seems to be everyone's favorite A2 out of the 4.
Other things I'll mention is Return of the 8. I absolutely adore that module. It's so much fun to play and so much fun to run, and it adds again so much material to the setting. And finally, the other one I will make note of is there's probably nobody other than Gary himself that's been more influential to me as far as a writer with concern to GREYHAWK than Rob Kuntz. And I almost put Dark Druids on my honorable mentions.
I did.
But fantastic, Morgan Cane's Fantastic Adventure.
Yeah.
That module was just so badass from start to finish. And its enduring legacy is, the proof in the pudding for me is look at how many appendages that were put in there, in later dungeon magazines that Erik published. I mean, that's just an incredible series of modules.
I'll say this, Carlos. One of your modules did get an honorable mention.
Well, Vault of the Dro is
one of your personal modules.
I admire Vault of the Dro more than I love Vault of the Dro, is because if you're doing a module design from a designer's perspective, that is a massive undertaking, that module, and I think it was handled very well. Village of Hamlet's mostly there. I'm not really a huge fan of Village, but it's there for historical purposes for me. There's very few modules that I think have been more influential to the setting and beloved than Village, so it's there for me. Against the Cult is just a fantastic module, but it missed the cut for me. I love it, but it missed the cut. And I'd say the same thing about Assassins, not that I said about Village, about Vault of the Dro, and that it's one of your murder mystery adventures, and those are kind of hard to write. And I feel like it was done very well. I think Len did a nice job with it. I think it's Len's finest work for me. And then Tomoe-chan is just that. What a crazy funhouse adventure that is, and I love the flavor of it. I think that's the thing I most enjoy about it is you're taking a region of GREYHAWK that's very lightly treated, and you're doing something cool with it, and that's always going to be score high for me. I mean, it's why I throw things in Hepmona Land and stuff like that, with my own work.
And you didn't do any Age of Worms or Savage Tides. A lot of people did some individual ones. We'll talk about Anna soon. Kind of lumped them into the general.
Again, it's the conceit of the exercise here. I found it too hard to separate.
It is
one from the other because when I look at those adventure paths, I look at them as an overarching work, generally speaking. And even though there's some of them I absolutely adore. Whisper and Karen is a great example. Erik, that was a masterpiece on your part.
That got a lot of votes. That got some individual votes for that too.
I found that I had a hard time separating one from the other and acknowledging one over the other because they're inseparable parts of a whole to me. So
it's a great list, Carlos, and we really appreciate it. I know you got Night Below on here as well. It's generically placed, but it's perfect for GREYHAWK, so that's okay. And other things on here like Keeping the Borderlands is another one. Note so far we're going over Joe's and Carlos's. What has not shown up at all that goes with this letter to start, and that's an X. Very little votes.
Xanathorn?
Very little votes for Isle of Dread. Very little.
For me, and I can't speak for anybody else on the panel, but one of the main reasons that Isle didn't get a lot of votes for me is we stole Isle of Dread in GREYHAWK from the start. And it's hard for me, when I look at Isle of Dread, it's really hard for me to go, that's a fully a GREYHAWK module.
Okay.
What's weird about it is when I look at Savage Tide and where places are included in Isle of Dread, I think to myself, okay, yeah, great, that's GREYHAWK. But when you look at the module itself, Isle of Dread, no, that's a Mystara module to me because that's where it was when I read that module for the first time. Fair enough.
Maybe I
think that's probably why it didn't rank.
Yeah, well,
I have some of them fairly high on my list here.
You do, Anna, but Isle of Dread was a surprise. I thought Isle of Dread was going to get more love than it did. Yeah, and it's just one of the things I noticed from these lists. So, but Carlos, I know your time is very limited. So,
I want to hop on a little bit later to share, and I want to hear everybody else's opinions.
Yeah, please.
And kibitz a little bit like that because if for no other reason, I rarely get a chance to speak to all you guys like this. But But yeah, I'm unfortunately work is forcing me to actually do my job here and there.
So wait a minute. What do all 5 of us have in common next January?
Oh yeah, Page, right?
Oh, yeah. We're all at Page.
Yeah.
We're all DMing in the same area as the GREYHAWK community has its own 5 tables. So,
Jay, before I jump out here
DMing.
and before I come back, there is one thing I'd like to add. As of yesterday, for those of you guys who get my stuff, I finished LF2, which is the sequel to the 9, which is called the Keldana Offensive.
Oh, cool.
It's at the editors right now. It will be released here in about 3 weeks for patrons. So Fantastic. It's finally done. I'm happy with it. It will expand a little bit on the Sea of Medigia and a lot about you guys did Hex Store last week. I can't wait to show you guys some of my some of the horrors that happened in Medigia that piggyback a lot on some of the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer stuff.
Sweet.
Okay, so I'll see you guys here in about maybe 15 minutes.
See you. All right, have a good one. All right, Rick and Sam, you're free to hop on there. All righty. All right. Next, Leslie Reno, Oblivion Seeker. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that.
Time for the tongue twist.
Time for the mongrels. My gosh, Rick, what were you? Just waiting to hit the button?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's Les's. Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. Got a lot of love. Lots of love. Return to the Tomb of Horrors. Expeditions. There, Eric. We got some reverb from someone
Rick.
there.
Must be Rick.
It's I think it may be it's Rick or Sam. Secret of Bone Hill.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That's me.
Excuse me.
There we go. Sorry.
It's okay. The Legend of Galfuga, which I ran a couple months ago in Dungeon 91, a surprising one there. Against the Giants, so G1 through 3. The highest ranking of Dark Druids by Rob Kuntz, because there is an adventure in it. Shrine of the Koatoa, so we get some D1 through 3 love there. Here comes Morton Kane's Fantastic Adventure. Our mainstay on a lot of lists. Hamlet, Shokanth, Vault of the Drought, Tharisden. So we're getting a lot of the same ones on here. So very nicely done by Les, and we thank you. I know he could not be on. So welcome there, Rick and Sam. How you guys doing?
Howdy.
All right.
Very, very cool. You guys have fun with this?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's good.
It was a bit of a gee. Let me actually pick 10 GREYHAWK adventures. Mm-hmm. Not just my favorites. Of all adventures. Because, I mentioned to you in the message, if this were just top 10 adventures and it didn't matter where they're from, the list would be a lot different.
Right.
So
you got specific here. Let's do Sam's. Also, one that skews the top 15 list because of your number one. Your number one of all time is the second edition GREYHAWK Ruins.
Oh yeah, yep. That'll actually top my list. Okay, like Carlos said, I mean, 2 of my main factors were fun to play and adds to GREYHAWK lore.
Okay.
Now I did sort of cheat on the GREYHAWK lore on one of them, and the whole
Shattered Circle.
Yep, and the whole It's GREYHAWK is kind of cheated by all my honorable mentions, which is why they're not up top.
Okay.
And so this is another thing. Also, I had to have actually played them.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of adventures. Well, I've never played Isle of the Ape. I've never done Morton Kanan's Fantastic Adventure.
Wow.
And a whole bunch of others. So
okay.
They may be great.
Sitting.
I've never run them.
All right, that's fine. That's fair enough. I mean, I think I've done the same thing a lot. So what I did was you got Village of Hamlet here, and then you got Temple upper levels. Because none of us. I'm not a node guy myself either. We also have the Sentinel and the Gauntlet.
Yes. And I think I like the Gauntlet better. I think they do add a lot to the lore. I mean, they really define all of Berghoff, that area of the Hold of the Sea Prince.
You know, Gargoyle does that.
What?
I'm
no, Ed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looks like, so like, yeah, for Greyhawk Ruins, yeah, Tower of War is in the upper level of Tower of Magic.
Okay.
Tower of War, really, the 3 towers are like completely different adventures in that. And the Tower of Magic is 3 adventures. One exploring the tombs of Zagiq, one in this weird magical experiment with the 3 flavors of evil, and one where you're down way below and you're finding the Earthstone and where the god trap is supposed to be, that sort of stuff. So the Tower of War is really great. The upper levels of the Tower of Magic are really good. The rest, it's not that it's bad, it's that I think they hit deadline and they couldn't finish it.
Yeah, well, it is huge. Humongous.
Yeah.
Does everyone notice you won showing up in everyone's list? Everyone's list. It's pretty highly ranked.
It's a really good adventure.
It's a really good, and it really defines the area. It really sets up a definition for that area.
That's true.
Sets up a theme for the area, and then you do all the design.
That's there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and there's Secret of the Saber Stockade again, a second one, highly put in just for A2.
I've had so much fun running that.
And then I gave this a Savage Tide nod for you. Yeah,
the thing is, I didn't run all of Savage Tide.
Right.
But I did run like the last half generally, and in 2 different campaigns. And Tides of Dread, it really makes the Isle of Dread Greyhawk. And it's a fun adventure trying to save this beleaguered outpost being attacked. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, sadly, Gary Holian is on there as co-author. It's like, oh, well, I'll have to give him some credit, I guess.
That's funny.
Very big of you, Sam.
And then you got some nice standard. Axe of the Dwarvish Lords, I think this is the only appearance it makes on any list from anyone. That's the only time. Yeah. And Gates of Firestorm Peak as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So Gates of Firestorm Peak, and this is Return to White Plume Man, and also this is the Shattered Circle. Is the Shattered Circle Greyhawk? It has precisely 1 word in 1 sentence.
And that word is?
Was it Paylor or something?
Sulawese.
Oh.
That's it. The Sulawese people named this place Cahernaval.
I did not know that.
That's it. 1 word. However, it's written by Bruce Cordell, when Carlos mentioned him. Cordell also wrote Gates of Firestorm Peak. He wrote Return to White Plume Man. He wrote a bunch of stuff. And in his stuff, he kind of has like a stealth setting, Neverness. And is Neverness Greyhawk? Well, Bastion of Faith.
Oh, that's Greyhawk.
Okay, but Bastion of Faith is connected to all the Neverness stuff.
Okay.
So is it Greyhawk?
Got it.
Yeah, right.
A lot of Hextor and Hieronius in that module, if I remember.
Yeah, but the Hextor is very much, if you read all of Cordell's stuff, it's a rewrite of Emotion, the power of good and such that he uses, of magic and purity that he uses starting in College of Wizardry, and shows up in, stuff from that shows up in other stuff. Stuff from Gates of Firestorm Peak shows up in Return to White Plume Mountain. Things from College of Wizardry show up in Return to the Tomb of Horrors. Stuff from it shows up in Shattered Circle. So the stuff is all interconnected. So is it his setting? Is it part of Greyhawk? Yeah, so I cheated, but Shattered Circle is a lot of fun.
Didn't cheat. I don't think anyone has a problem with it.
If the word Sulawese is in it, we're claiming it.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like the original the Cauldron Adventures. Everyone knew that that was Greyhawk.
Right, yeah, like I say, 1 word. it's a really fun introductory, low-level introductory adventure. Although Cordell really creates the Far Realms in Gates of Firestorm Peak, the stuff from it makes an appearance in Shattered Circle. So it's a nice first to third level adventure to bring Far Realms into your Greyhawk.
That's another great adventure too. I think that's on the top 30 of all time too. Gates of Firestorm Peak. I think that made it in the top 30.
Yeah, and that's why Shattered Circle made my list.
What was that, Eric?
I found the original document.
Yeah,
on cool. My computer, so let me see if
I think it did. So, all right. Well, Sam, and you had a really good one there. Let me.
Firestorm Peak's 11 on.
Yeah.
Pretty high. Let's.
Mainstay. Erik is very, very. He didn't put any of his own stuff on here, which I think.
I also I have a hot fix on this. I want to make a change.
Oh no! Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect your vote, but we'll get to it. But yeah, so this is my list. It starts very vanilla and then it gets weird at the bottom. Looking at it again, it's kind of fun. Like I picked number 1, Hamlet.
Yeah.
That's my favorite adventure. That's the template for so many other adventures. It's perfect. It's bite-sized. It delivers on its promise. It's got a great villain. It's got a little area you can explore. It's got a home base where you can sell your stuff and, build, kind of start the world campaign building. It's got a little evil town off the map. It's like, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's so good that I think it was, in my opinion, almost impossible for the actual Temple of Elemental Evil to pay off and reach the same level. And so I think there's a lot of brilliant stuff in Temple of Elemental Evil, but it doesn't even, I don't even know if that's in my top 20. Mostly because I just think it just can't, it can't reach that apex that Hamlet. Hamlet, I think, is the best. Yeah, not the, it's like the platonic ideal of a D&D adventure for me is Village of Hamlet. And I think that is obvious because then you look at my number 2 and my number 3, which are also very similar. You know, it's like a little village and then there's a small adventure. Saltmarsh, I think, is got a couple little spots, and I think that's interesting. I love it. I think Saltmarsh has that sort of like, haunted pirate feel to it. And I love that. I'm less enamored with the rest of the series as it gets into the underwater stuff and all the different sort of, Sahuagin and so on. But I really, really like Saltmarsh. I love Against the Cult of the Reptile God. I think that's kind of, I want to reevaluate these things a little more closely. I'm kind of, as a long-term project, going through a lot of these old D&D adventures again.
I think you were the highest. That was the highest ranking of Against the Cult of the Reptile God.
I just think it's really, really good.
It is, and it's hard.
I love it, and it's
very hard adventure.
I think it's the one that sort of takes. Like, so Hamlet is Hamlet, and then Saltmarsh feels to me like a little bit of a riff on that with some sketchy elements, which is kind of like, yeah, there's a town council. Who are they? I don't know. Figure it out. Like what, there's a lot of like, it's almost not quite like Keep on the Borderlands level, but there's a lot of kind of like make it your own stuff. And I have a love-hate relationship with some of that because I end up really usually loving what comes out the other side. But it's because I made up like 80% of it. So like, I don't know, but I like Saltmarsh a lot. And then I think Against the Cult of the Reptile God just kind of fills it in. It's like the most evolved version of that sort of village, small dungeon template. And I really, really like that.
We'll have Doug on in 3 weeks.
That'll be really exciting. Against the Giants is Against the Giants.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, it's so cool and it's so iconic. And it's like, certainly the Frost Giant one and the Hell Giant one is like, okay, there's a place and you're going to the place and you have a rough idea of like what the shape of the place is. Why don't you figure out how you're getting into the place? And then all of the action sort of evolves organically from play. And that is my preferred kind of certainly AD&D adventure where it's really
I run that at cons a lot. It's really it's a perfect con game,
and it's got to be different every time.
It was made
which is what's so cool about it. And I played it many times, and I've run it many times, and it's different every time. And I love that. And then it has hints of the wider sort of D&D world to come with like Drow and stuff sort of making a little bit of an appearance.
Yep.
So big fan of Against the Giants. Love it. Ghost Tower of Inverness. That's where I want to do my hot fix. I have a soft spot in my heart for Ghost Tower of Inverness.
Right.
But I'm not 100% sure it's all that great of an adventure. So I'm booting it out of my top 10.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I'm replacing it with Lost Caverns of Sajkanth, which I should have put in here originally.
At fifth.
At fifth, yeah.
Oh boy.
You can bounce.
Get on that spreadsheet, Jay.
Oh boy. Okay.
For you,
it's okay.
Well,
it's okay.
Anyway,
I'm prepared.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's the miracle of Excel. Sajkanth, there's elements of it that I don't love. I think it's a little. My experience playing it does not live up to my experience reading it and absorbing it and loving it, and it'd be really adoring that sort of monster, appendix that came with it, which is phenomenal. So I'm rating that one a little more highly on the lore element, and it gave us so much about Igwilv and Drelsna and all this other stuff. That is a loreful adventure that I like for the lore more than the actual adventure itself. But that's good enough for number 5 because the lore is so good. Next is Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I like the odd stuff. I like the fact that there can be a crashed spaceship. I like the enormous element of that adventure. We originally, when we pitched doing Mari Castle for Dungeon 112, as another part of the 30th anniversary of D&D, we wanted to revisit an old adventure, and I just desperately wanted to work with Gary and wanted to bring him into the magazine. And so James Jacobs and I were like, what is our favorite adventures? And for whatever reason, we just got overly excited about Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, actually pitched it to WotC to do a 30th anniversary redo of it, and kind of got left out of the room by the powers that be.
Oh, what a shame.
And they were just basically like, that's not what D&D is all about. And I'm like, au contraire. But I was like 26 and had no power. And so I said, okay. And then when we got back to the office and kind of were bummed about it, we started really looking into it, and I was like, to appropriately update this adventure in kind of the Dungeon Magazine 3.5 approach that James and I took, we would have had to have like quadrupled. I mean, it would have been like 400 pages. So at the end of the day, I think WotC did us a favor there. And I think Mari Castle turned out to be really great. So I was happy with that. But that is just some semblance of a hint at how highly I regard Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. I love it.
I am almost done with the update.
Oh, good. Next, we've got I guess it'd be technically D1 through 3, the Descent, Kuatoa, and the Drow. That's also amazing. That's sort of foundational to the Underdark, which is sort of foundational to the whole D&D brand. And I think that there's a lot of really cool stuff happening in there. A lot of like almost Cthulhu-esque stuff happening. The Vault of the Drow is very, very, very interesting. Yep. It's just really an interesting element to it, and I think is very cool. Then after that, I have Tomb of Horrors. It's Tomb of Horrors. Is it a good adventure? I don't really know, but it is like a experience. It's like a rite of passage, I think, to go through Tomb of Horrors. I think almost everyone has taken a shot at it at least once, and it's very difficult. And I think that in and of itself is impressive. I remember speaking of GaryCon, Jay, at this GaryCon, some gentleman was running Tomb of Horrors, and there was a group of players who said, "Yeah, we beat it. We smoked the whole adventure in like 2 hours." And I was like,
what?
I don't believe you. And so I don't know.
They had a copy open in front of them while they were doing it.
Yeah, I really don't buy that at all. But apparently it happened. It has never happened in my experience. So I love it for the fact that it's so absurd and so impossible, and it just makes me laugh. And the illustration books are iconic. The green face enigma, I think, is top 5 images in all of Dungeons and Dragons, probably. People get it on tattoos. We had it sculpted for the cover of Dungeon 116. That sculpture's actually in my closet.
Yeah.
And cool. I just, it's Tomb of Horrors, guys. It has to be on the list. And now we get into, I think, where I was trying to mix it up a little bit and be a little bit of an iconoclast. So before I do that, I want to say my quick honorable mentions, because that will prove that I actually know what I'm talking about. Tomoa-chan, honorable mention. White Plume Mountain, honorable mention. Night Below, I think, honorable mention. And I bumped down Inverness as well to that. So those are those could, in any given day, any of those could have probably been in my top 10, but I wanted to create a little conversation here. So I put Assassin's Knot as my next one. I also advocated pretty strongly for that back in the 30th anniversary one. I think it is a really exceptional adventure, and by that I mean it's very different than a lot of the other stuff that was published at the time. I've never been hugely enamored with The Secret of Bone Hill. I think it's the
really
interesting. Yeah,
okay.
I just can't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's me, but it doesn't strike me as particularly great in the same way that my top three, which are very similar, sort of structurally to that one. So I've enjoyed it, but I didn't find it to be exceptional. I think Assassin's Knot is exceptional. I think the fact that it's trying to do a murder mystery, the fact that the elements of it are sort of built on a schedule, it's very NPC based. I think it deserves a lot of credit for kind of pushing the envelope.
It's a good pushback on this, Eric, and I completely respect that. I know how good Assassin's Knot is, but Ad and I spent so much time with Len. And when you go into that Bone Hill and you see the Church of the Big Game, and he's got crossed up potions already in there. You know what I mean? Mixed potions, which had never been done in an adventure that I know of before. Really crazy stuff. And then monsters that never make an appearance anywhere else, like the Skeltar, the Zombire, all that. I was like, wow, man, he was trying to, do some cutting edge stuff.
Well, I think Len was an innovator for sure. And in fairness, I probably haven't given Bone Hill a close examination since, before I met Joe as my DM in college, so it's been a long time.
Which is really awesome.
I probably deserves to have a modern reappraisal, but for me, Assassin's Knot has always loomed a little bit.
Very cool. Carlos just messaged me. He's got stuck with something at work. He's not going to be able to get back on, so it's okay.
Next, I wanted to put another one that I think was very well regarded at the time, but maybe has faded in popularity a little bit, and that's Carl Sargent's City of Skulls. Where you're breaking into Dorka to get involved with some Ayuz stuff.
That notoriety mechanic.
The notoriety mechanic.
So great. I love that.
The big thing in this one. Getting some, we always run our site-based adventures as dynamic in nature, but that gave kind of a framework for it, and I really liked that. And also, as much as I tend to struggle sometimes with ranking some of the 2E and even, mostly 2E stuff like, Return of the 8 or whatever, none of that stuff is going to appear on my top list just because I really just tend to prefer the site-based adventures over the kind of narrative ones.
Okay.
But I also, City of Skulls is written by Carl Sargent. Carl Sargent's one of the best writers just in terms of the craft of writing to ever work on the setting. And so I wanted to include something of his in here, and I think this is his best adventure that he wrote for the setting. The next adventure is the
A4
appearance of Trash on my top 10, and it probably doesn't necessarily belong, but I think what I don't like about Fate of Istis is that some of it's really sketchy, that some of it clearly was not written by people who knew a lot about the setting, and that the whole contrivance of the adventure was to transition things into second edition. But I did like very much the sort of let's take a tour of the different cities of the Flannis, and let's really kind of explore some of those individual areas. So this one, in a sense, I think is a controversial pick, and I put it on here because of just the audacious nature of it in the scope.
I agree with you, Eric. It's on my list too.
I think you're the only two that put it on any lists. I think.
I have my motivations
understandably.
I can't get past the maps. I just can't get past the city maps.
Yeah.
Some of the maps kind of suck. I don't know that in a different day or a different month or a different time in my life I would ever put this adventure on the list, but I think I haven't really messed with it for 20 years or something, but my memories of it, the warm parts of it are stronger than the cold parts of it, now that I've just kind of let it simmer for a while. So I put that one on there.
Thanks, Patrick.
Knowing that I would be more or less alone. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. And then the last one again is another one that I think is sort of, I just put it in there for the creativity and the audacity of it, and that's in the Dungeons of the Slave Force.
You went out at it. Yep.
I love the idea of the sort of start of the adventure being, okay, you basically have nothing. You're imprisoned. Go figure out what's going on and fight your way through. I think, in fairness, the setup, which I think was from the previous adventure, where you just kind of automatically lose a fight, is bullshit in the extreme, and reminds me of the Circle of Eight getting jobbed at the beginning of Vecna Lives. But that being said, I do think it's cool. I incorporating that into an adventure I'm writing for Pathfinder right now, and I was trying to think of like how would I do it better where you didn't have to kind of have a cheese ball, the party loses automatically fight. And the way that I came up with it is it's the first adventure, so your first level, and that's just how it starts. But nonetheless, I think there's some interesting things happening. And that's my list.
Before we go to Rick, let's do GREYHAWK Mike. Number 1, Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure. That I think that's the only person who put that number 1. That jumps it way up there, and you're going to see at the end. White Plume Mountain 2, and you got G1 3. Vecna Lives 4, the highest Vecna Lives gets. There you go, Eric, because that's why I wanted to come right to Mike after you were talking about Vecna Lives. Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with that adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tomb of Horrors 5th, Temple of Elemental Evil 6th. There's GREYHAWK Ruins, the 2nd edition one, again with Sam. Helps to push that one way up there. Saltmarsh, which almost everyone has on their list, on their top 10, top 12. 5 Shall Be One, the only appearance that makes.
Wow. You know who's most excited about that appearing on the list? Is the Falcon Master.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to make it.
No Falcon. I don't think there's no Falcons at all.
Bummer.
No puppets, no Falcons.
No Well, you know, it could have been. Eric could have put puppets on there. He was busting my stones and that was funny though. Tharsden, Dungeonland, and then Return of the 8/12th. So a good solid list from Mike. With he really loves Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure. So I know that. Good all around. List. All right, let's go to Rick. Now, Rick, I know you got a lot of discussion on each. We don't have to go that depth in, but which is crazy. But you really did a good job with this. So let me just find the list here. I got them all PDF'd. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Yep.
I did that all at work, ironically. I was sitting there typing at work, just typing that
nice.
Out. So it's like one of those, I have nothing going on for about like half an hour. Okay, we're just going to go crazy. So one of the shout outs is Eric, you're going to get a lot of love out of my list.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
So you're going to get a lot of love. And ironically, what a lot of my stuff came from was I've been working on a magic item compendium. So every magic item and artifact in GREYHAWK is coming into this thing. It's going to go up on DM's Guild.
5e.
Jay's got a copy. A lot of people have early copies for editing. It has full references. It has full descriptions, stuff. Some things that have never had stats to them. So you get a full reference guide where it came from, the page number, everything, plus the item. If you don't like it and fit that, well, convert it back to something else. You've got it.
We getting the wand of viscous globs?
It's in there.
Yeah, good.
Every single thing you think of. I
It's
tried, Joe.
fantastic. It's fantastic. Yep.
I tried.
You
to sneak something in. It's like, is this in? This isn't everything. It's shocking. It's like crazy amount of pages. Yep. So
Sam found some stuff, but I told him it's like
Sam's deep
crossing.
So, yeah. Age of Worms is first.
Yep.
You put it as
number one. Which is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so and that's I think you're the only one to put it number one, but because you're putting it number one, it's getting a big boost up in the rankings. So it's a good thing there, Rick. And then a temple.
Part of that was. I was gonna say a big part of that was Diamond Lake. Diamond Lake, Eric, when you wrote that, as far as I was concerned, you actually one-upped Village of Hamlet. Wow. You one-upped Village of Hamlet because you went out there and you gave somebody a full sandbox effect.
You did, Eric. And let me see if I can find my Diamond Lake stuff.
And I filled
here.
it with a lot of scumbags too.
You did,
yeah. It was fun. There was a lot of fun stuff in it. I mean, you started off, it got a nice slow build, and then it, by the time you're taking out Dragotha and Caius, it's on. So and there's so much lore in that. That entire thing is just so full of lore pulling in Thessalar, pulling in Bucknerd.
Kellick's there too. a lot of event, So this is the map. This was a map done. I pulled off of DeviantArt years ago for this with the circle.
Yep.
Anna, what is this building right here?
I forgot that now, but I was in.
Come on.
Oh, that's a tickling feather.
The original tickling feather. Yes.
Yeah. I've been adventuring there.
That's what I added. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
With the Guild Superior. That was a lot of fun.
They used that there, yeah. So you're right.
We weren't the tickling feather, but we were into a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. That Redux document too is huge. That you can still, if you know how to find it, you can still find that Age of Worms. What's called Age of Worms Redux. I think it was the name of it.
Redux. Yeah. Which file?
The doc that had like a compilation of everything, synopses of all adventures, the PCs, and all.
That's the thing, yeah, and I didn't say that to my defense. If all the information that I now know of would have been available in the adventure itself in Dungeon Magazine, it would have been made number one. Now it didn't made my top list because that was extra stuff that was not in the adventure.
I took your highest ranking of an Age of Worms adventure and used that.
Okay, good,
okay,
perfect.
So,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's
right,
good. Yeah.
Temple second.
Yep.
Very cool.
Temple second, and same reason. Village of Hamlet kind of set everything up, and then you get into the temple, and everything just starts to go crazy. It's like you've got all the monsters in there, you've got things going on, you've got Nulb nearby. So much going on.
If you're a DM that knows that you gotta do side quests and all off of that, it makes it gold. You know what I mean? That's what you gotta, if you're a brand new DM to gaming, maybe not, but that's the key to the temple. I agree with you on that.
Well, we all know that getting players to do stuff is like herding cats. So that's why temple is so nice, because it's just like, okay, let the cats do what they want.
Have fun. Stand again. All right. Man, I got another hip replacement coming in a month or two. Oh my God, guys. Tomb of Horrors. Third.
Maybe get you one of those standing desks.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's why I'm standing now. Oh yeah, it's all the way up. I'm sit sand. Yeah. Yep. I got it right here. See, I'm leaning on it right now. Yep. Tomb of Horrors.
Yep.
One.
Like that it's
good
because it took a complex of people just going in and hacking and slashing, and just said, "No, you're done with that.
One of the
Figure
ones,
it out or die." So
the ode to that in Dungeon, I thought we'd get a vote somewhere. Mud Sorcerer's Tomb, but it didn't. If everyone knows that adventure, because that adventure is in the list of Erik, and your listing of here are the best dungeon ones.
Oh yeah,
on the side.
We got letters about that years after it came out. That was widely considered by many people to be the best dungeon adventure.
Return of the Eight. Roger Moore.
Again, heavy on the lore. It was fun. You get introduced to some completely new settings. You get to go to like Luna of all places.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, it's just, I loved it. And I actually got to tell Roger that at Gen Con one year. So he didn't think anybody would recognize him, but there was this old picture of him in Dragon Magazine. And I have a picture memory. So I went up to him like, "Hi, Roger." And he's like, "Who the hell are you?" So he did not expect anybody to recognize him. So he's still cool.
Well, he went back to Gary Con again last year, and we're so happy he did. So yeah, definitely awesome. Savage Tide Adventure Path.
Yep.
Very cool. James will like that.
Specifically, I was very impressed with having Egwilf in there. I liked having Egwilf in there. I liked the Wells of Darkness. I thought was a very fun concept. And at the end, you get a beat up on Demogorgon. Who hasn't wanted to beat up on Demogorgon at least once?
That's a nasty ending.
I didn't list it, but Wells of Darkness was one of my more liked parts of Savage Tide, as well as having the players beat Egwilf. So,
yes.
Well, it's we all have things that we love, or have a little quirk here and there, something that you remember, and that's the great thing about. Thanks, Moose, for popping that up. But Savage Tide, we'll see at the end because we're all gonna have to have some. Everyone who's on is gonna have some decisions to make at the end because we got. Now that I switched Showcant up, now we got even more ties. So we got. We're gonna have that popped it up 4 points.
Approaching consensus.
Yes,
it falls into the wheels within wheels thing.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Mark Castle, not Morning Cannons, the Mark Castle one, and I think if I recall, one other person put Mark Castle up instead of Morning Cannons. Fantastic Adventure.
I put it up as an all-encompassing. So Mordekainen's Fantastic Adventure could be considered into the same area if you want to put that towards a vote for it. Absolutely cool with that. But I liked it because it put in a lot more. It again. a lot more detail for Mauer Castle, the entire area. In fact, actually, Warlock's Walk, which got cut, which didn't make it in enough time to dungeon, I ended up putting in Earth Journal when I was still doing that.
Oh, cool.
So that still exists. It's out there. If people wanted to add it in, and I gave it the same time of treatment that you guys gave it in Dungeon Magazine, Eric.
Cool. Man, neat.
I worked with him 100%, just converted everything myself. So
then Eric's Expeditions number 7.
Mm-hmm. I liked it because it cleaned up a lot of inconsistencies. My only complaint, which Eric is going to probably nod up and down when I say this, is the tactical encounter template. That was the only thing I didn't like.
Because it was in the back and you had to go back and cross-reference it. It was in the back of the book and you had
we hated that when we were writing it. Oh my God.
Yeah. That was the toughest part. It would have probably ranked a lot higher if it wasn't for that tactical encounter template, because to me, it looked like it was eating up your guys' word count, just to be honest.
It was brutal. I think that it did some neat things. Like, it did make you think about sort of, okay, so I know what the room is. I know what the monster is. What else is interesting about this room? What situational?
The submap was in there was kind of cool.
And I like that a lot. I think if the book had been like 100 more pages and also had all that in template, it would have been perfect. But it's just a space hog.
I thought the tactical encounter templates could have been better as a web enhancement, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was their last publication. It was the last publication, right? That of GREYHAWK content for what? A long time. So
yeah, I was 100. Like, they'd already not renewed Paizo's license at that point, and so all three of us, Jason Bowman, James Jacobs, and I, who wrote it, we just considered this is probably going to be the final official D&D thing we ever write. So we just tried to get it all out in this one project, and I'm like, I'm gonna put little monsters from Dragon Magazine in this thing. There's all kinds of lore, crazy stuff in there.
Oh, there is. Yeah, that's why
I'm not sure we would have vomited all of that in quite that much if we thought there'd be more down the road.
It was, Norker. My only regret, I finished this 6 months before I started streaming.
Oh.
So none of it was ever recorded on the live stream. Yeah, and we had a ton of fun with it.
You can always go back to the castle again, unless you blow it up so bad.
It's just the storyline is so finished.
Okay,
and that was one of the great things about it. I mean, Vane gets killed. Oh, I'm sorry if Vane gets killed twice in the adventure. It's just hysterical. All sorts of fun things happen in it. And if if there's some tricks that a lot of people don't agree with, that Roblar can come back, and that Ashta is the good version of Tasha, all this stuff, which you can either incorporate in your game or not, at this point. So we allowed Ashta to come. So we have a lawful good version of Tasha, of Igwolf out in the game now, because she was the only one that was in reverse that was good, which was kind of cool. It was neat stuff. It really was groundbreaking. And you'll see when we get to my list. All right, so City of Skulls, there's another one making its place there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I gave a nice description to that one too. So,
very cool.
Ever wanted to infiltrate a hostile enemy city and rescue an important NPC? This is the adventure for you. So yeah, it's a nail biter. That one was a nail biter to run, because if you get players that are used to a certain style, that aren't used to being sneaky, all of a sudden they're just like, wait, what?
No, absolutely.
I've used that the mechanic for what do you call it? We just talked about it, Eric. What was it?
Notoriety.
The notoriety mechanic. I've used that in Vault of the Drop.
Oh, sure.
It makes total sense in Vault of the Drop.
Probably made some tweaks to it, I'm sure, because that's what my biggest thing that I didn't like was I liked notoriety, but I thought it needed some more work to it. It felt a little bit rushed. Honestly, though, I will tell you that City of Skulls plays better in like 3E or 5E because of these skill checks. If you've got players, and what I mean by that is when you've got players that aren't used to talking, you get a lot of introverted players that are just like, I say words to that guy. Okay, let's just roll for that, please.
Excellent. Farrah's Din number 9. All I'll say is I had a blast running that at Founders and Legends and 24 at GaryCon, 3 days worth. A lot of people are like, well, the fights at the beginning, the big fights at the beginning. After that, it's a lot of figuring out how to get through there and survive and not get poofed. That's a really amazing adventure. White Plume Mountain. White Plume Mountain did not get a lot of love at all.
I found it interesting.
I
found it interesting. It's got an interesting locale.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It got more than I think C2. Ghost Tower. I think it got more than Ghost Tower.
It's more iconic than Ghost Tower, but they're similar in that they're both sort of flimsy and thin.
That's my fault. It's a faux pas on my part there.
Its only downfall is that it didn't really age well over the years, especially the graphics inside of poor White Plume Mountain didn't age well, especially with newer players that I've ran into. That's my only thing. And it has had a lot of updates to clean it up over the years, so I can say that. So that's why it made it in as 10.
And then you got Ghost of Saltmarsh. That's the 5e version.
Yep. I did that just to put Saltmarsh in there. I wanted to put just regular Saltmarsh in, but you know what? I'm like, let's put one 5e era in because they do a pretty good version of it. And it has had a lot of love, especially in Twitch channels. So I'm sure if you've noticed.
A lot of people run that. Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of people run that.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I wanted to give it a little bit of love.
No, 100%, man. Very, very, it's one of those that, you'd be shocked when I tell a lot of people on stream, like, this is GREYHAWK product. They're like, it's generically placed. So I'm like, oh my God. But that's what happens. People, they just don't know, and it's a shame, but yeah.
Can I make a quick observation about that one? I'm not as familiar with it. I was sort of otherwise occupied during most of the 5e era. So my knowledge of 5e stuff's really bad. But I'm like, who wrote that adventure? So I typed it into Google right now and looked on Wikipedia, and it's got all kinds of information. Wikipedia does not even list the author. That is how important authors are in the mindset of even the biggest fans of these things. People will write an entire Wikipedia page on it, but they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not important.
Well, Wolfgang came on our show years ago and said, we just needed to get this out to get it out to the masses on Ghosts. We needed to get a GREYHAWK product out there, and that's so.
Who's the author though?
Wolfgang is Bauer is one of the main ones. Yeah.
Well, he's a good writer. He belongs on the list.
Yeah. And he's got some nods here, and then Vecna Lives. Number 12, or the circle dies.
Yep, that one's a weird one, but I just kind of like to show that like NPCs can die. I people who are playing it, NPCs can die. You're not gonna have like
hey,
Drizzt Do'Urden showing up to save you in this adventure, so. You might want to start thinking because it ain't happening. So it also kind of was a good lesson for me when I was actually developing characters and such like that to all my players always have an escape plan for any type of thing that might happen. I always have that contingency of think a way out of the dungeon, not just in, think a way out. That might be the only reason that Sean Reynolds didn't get to kill me in the Dungeon Delves. Soul Survivor.
And Isle of the Ape is the last one. Always another iconic one that appears. Hey, part of Isle of the Ape appears in Expeditions.
Yep.
Yeah, which is really neat.
I just like that was an interesting concept. If I had to add one more honorable mention, it would be Kingdom of the Ghouls.
That's Wolfgang. And that shows up on another. I think it's Alan Growe's, or is it yours, Anna? One of them. It's yours, Anna.
No, not mine.
No,
but it should have. But damn, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Joe, if I had one more to put on, that would be Kingdom of the Ghouls would be the next one.
Damn, I should have put that in there. Yep.
Joe, what were your other honorable mentions? You're muted. You're muted. Muted.
Push the space bar.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I only had one honorable mention, and that is Castle Zagig.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the new Castle Zagig back. The old
because it's technically not Greyhawk, but we all know it really is Greyhawk.
Yeah, very cool.
So that I had to go with that because hey, I wrote my own Castle Greyhawk, and that one's better. So I'm really looking forward to the new one from Troll Lords.
Yeah,
the full Monty.
Well, that's Troll Lord Games one made the list, which is cool. All right, let's go to Alan Growe.
Ooh, I'm excited to see this one.
Well, he did a full Korash Quill thing today with the ad here, and we go down. Number 1, Vault of the Drow. All right. Saying it's D3 is G-Throne. G3 is my favorite adventure. It's a quintessential ADD scenario, high-level sandbox of doom that will snuff out your PCs if they're not capable diplomatically as they're in combat. I agree 100% with Alan on that. I know Joe's done a lot of expansion in D3 as well, which is awesome.
D4 on my blog.
Also, it is what Drow should be, not them running around in Menzo Barons and all dual-wielding Drizzits running around all over the place. It's just, that's not what Drow are. Drow are weapon buckler types, It got a little too crazy, in my opinion, during that the Forgotten Realms era of Drow. They made them all super Drow. Not, Drow or Drow.
One thing I love about Errol Haikinlu, the city in D3, is that if you read it, the iconography is as much mushroom based as it is spider based.
Yeah.
Somewhere that got lost when
spiders are cooler. They sell better.
I guess, but if you look in there, it's all about mushroom this and fungus that, and I really like that, and I want to emphasize that a little bit.
Yeah,
we did an update, or not an update, but just like a fleshing it out a little bit in a Dragon article, I think, during my tenure. And one of the things I was really excited about, just to, this is very superficial, but I'm like, we had a bunch of Drow NPCs and stuff, and yes, Drow are like the buckler guys, but I don't want them all to look the same. So I think I might be responsible for ordering the first piece of Dungeons and Dragons art of a fat Drow. That made me really happy to do.
It's okay. I don't want it to be.
Find your pleasure where you can. On the schedule. Let's put it that way.
Funny little giggle, by the way, about the Drizzit Dord thing. Is I had players ask me, about him, and it's like, "Oh, is he in this adventure?" I'm like, "No, Zipper Boy isn't in here." Like, what do you mean by that, dude? It sounds like somebody's, pulling up their like.
Yeah, that is a Star Blazers outfit for Joe, right? Dark Wildstar.
This is my Star Blazer shirt. Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Somebody noticed. I'm glad.
Number 2, Mordecai's Fantastic Adventure. As you can see, that's making the top 15 easily of all the people voting for it. Yep. This one I don't know. The 8 Kings by Rob Kuntz.
Ooh, Maze of Zany.
Yeah.
No.
All right, so it's a Maze of Zany.
Is that what that is?
Okay, it's Maze of Zany. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Village of Hamlet's 4th. Bonehill 5th. Okay. G3 6th. There you go. He moved it down a little bit. A1, Slay Pits and Undercity gets a nod for I think for the first time out of anyone's list. Here's another one. He has a lot of Rob Kuntz's in there. Chambers and Antiquities. Dungeon Magazine 124. My favorite.
Mori Castle thing.
Okay, so it's a more Castle add-on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a level. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Erik, Core 1-3 River of Blood.
Oh no.
By Erik Mona.
Yeah.
An introductory.
Blood.
Mona's brilliant introductory scenario stands right up there with T1, L1, and he says T1 twice. I think he must mean a U1 as well. It's an excellent introduction.
Drunk. Yeah. So I think that's
leverages Zvarts. So
sure does.
That's a very nice thing for him to do there. Say there. Return to 8. Roger Moore, number 10.
Yep.
So nice one could call it charitable.
Wow, it was beautiful. I mean, I've never run it, so because I never do Living GREYHAWK, but I have it, and maybe I will run it down the road.
It's quite a thing.
Very cool. Here's some honorable mentions: Fiend's Embrace, which I love in Dungeon.
Oh, yeah. Favorite dungeon cover I ever commissioned.
Oh, that is a great one. That is a great cover. I agree.
Romance cover.
Carlos got his. Is the nod Carlos gets. Witch Queen's Lament G2. In here by Carlos. Bottle City. Here's Kingdom of the Ghouls again. Right there. The Quest for the Golden Orb. Tournament from Origins in 1984. I don't know that one. Does anyone know that one?
What? Alan. Wow.
My gosh.
I knew we would get some
names down as bona fides. You know?
That one. You have it, Norker? Holy jeez.
I was one of 16 people. There was only 2 slots there.
I was going to say, he put things in there that he knew no one else would
I was like, holy
understand what it was. Yeah.
Shokanth. Erik again, Whispering Cairn. There it is again.
There you go.
So that helps bump up. That's a 1-point bump up for Age of Worms right there. Forgotten Temple of Farazdan, and then City of Skulls. So a lot of the very similar ones.
I was worried City of Skulls wasn't going to get much play, but it's coming up a lot.
It is, but it's really low on the list. A lot of people don't put it up that high.
Well,
so it's getting a lot of 2-point, 3-point, 2-point deals on it. But you'll be surprised how some of them, like for example, because Sam put GREYHAWK Ruins number 1. That's it. That's 8 points.
Yeah.
Right. So So Sam, you're solely responsible for that getting close to the top 15. So
I almost included City of Skulls. I only ran it once and
very nicely done.
Recently, like the last 10 years, and I don't think I did a good job running it. But I actually had one of my players said, the one thing he's asked for in like 15 years of gaming, he'd like to play City of Skulls. And so I said, okay, really? I've always wanted to run it. I ran it. I don't think I did too good a job of it. I think that was on me. Otherwise, I probably would have included it on my list.
Yep.
So
it got the maps and illustrations were so bad in that adventure that fell. Otherwise, it would have been high. It had 2 high and 1 low score. I scored 3 different scores. We get to that.
I think that leaves 3 people left for the initial discussion.
Can I make a quick observation so far, Jay? GREYHAWK fans have excellent taste. These are like all these lists.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with 100%, I'm like, yeah, that's a killer.
Absolutely.
We're spoiled for choice, honestly. Like, there's no other campaign setting for D&D that could seriously have a podcast where it's like you're arguing over whether there's 6 good modules, let alone like 30 or 40. So, I mean, let's be honest. We are blessed as GREYHAWK fans here with good modules.
We have 3 left. Anna, I'm going to do you next. And then if Will doesn't come on at that time by now, he was like 50-50. I'll do Will's and I'll do mine last. All right, sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so let me pop up yours here, Anna. Give me 1 second.
And while you're doing that, I'll say, because compared to Erik Mona said, you love adventure modules as one of the best things about TTRPGs. I'm the opposite. That's adventure modules is the lowest on my list. I love the source books and the lore and the setting books and the illustrations. So I put 3 criterias and then I put points in them. I went over 40. So the first one is, of course, maps and illustration and visualization, meaning how much can the adventure and the module makes me understand the environment, the mapping, where it is, and how that's one of the criteria. I made them equally important. The second one is how much cool lore is there, meaning interesting NPCs, places, magic items, and stuff like that I can use that in my homebrew stuff, so to speak. And the third category is how well does it fit into the general GREYHAWK story, and how much do I learn and understand of the setting from this adventure? Those are my 3 criterias.
My God, you put a lot more work into this than I did.
Oh, yeah, and when I read it, and I went over my shelf. I literally took 15 hours yesterday. I went over my whole shelf, over 70 adventures, and done a magazine. I put an Excel spreadsheet, starting going through them. And
he's doing weighted averages. I'm just like,
I sent mine in a Facebook Messenger reply to Jay on the car.
And then I got stuck because I found 3-4 new heraldry and places, and I took notes, and it became a research.
That's so awesome.
Bonanza, so to speak. So but my top one is Expeditions to the Ruins of GREYHAWK.
There you go.
That was the one that got maps and illustrations 9. Meaning it's simply gorgeous maps, illustration. I understood the place, and you've got a GREYHAWK city map and stuff, so top notch on that one. And the lore, not the best, but very, very close. And GREYHAWK integration, they had 2 modules that got a 10 out of 10 for GREYHAWK integration. That was one of them.
Wow,
and the other one was Return of the 8 that I felt really tried to make it into Roger E. Moore. He really tried to make it fit into the setting. So those are so I dealt 3 10s, so to speak. And second comes Slavers, and it's understandable because it's half source book.
Yeah.
So that's why it has maps aren't that high quality, but there are many of them, and they show a lot of stuff. It's full of little setting descriptions, places, and half the adventure. So as an adventure, I think it's probably not that good at all running it, but as a source book, so it had to score high. And it's also a 9 on integrating into the setting, because they also tried to. So those are my 2 top. And
great artwork in it too.
Yeah, exactly, and it has decent maps and art, so I got a 7 on that one. So, and then we have Temple Elemental Evil. I decided to include the T1 Hamlet in there, because from my perspective, all the things that were in the Hamlet module is in the Temple of Elemental Evil model, all the illustrations, all the text and stuff. So I simply, otherwise Hamlet would have been a second one after that. So
the problem is that all the stuff from the Temple of Elemental Evil is also in that module.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
But from my perspective, it's kind of it's in there. So and that one got a 9 for integration into the setting, and an 8 for lore, and a 7 for maps and illustrations. So they're not as good as the top ones, but they're really up there, so to speak. And then we have the Expedition to Demon Web Pits, just the same way as Expeditions to Ruin of GREYHAWK. It's an overall solid.
That's a Wolfgang as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's one of the.
Yeah, I think Wolfgang did that one too.
Yep. So that's one. And then on the 5th place, there's an interesting choice that I didn't realize would put so high. But I scored it, put it aside in the spreadsheet. Then I put it together, and all of a sudden we have the Armor Qualish on 5th place.
Wow.
And I must
awesome.
give a shout out for this, because first of all, the maps are gorgeous in this, and the illustrations, all the NPCs, everything. And I gotta play, and also I have to say, my maps are not in here. That's why I could score it high, so to speak. So that way, and I play tested this. That's why I knew about it, and I got a physical copy. It's Cannibal Publishing. And it's a great example of how to make a module. It has locations, NPCs and stuff, well illustrated, super well mapped. And
where is it set?
It's set in Zeef up in
cool.
Yeah, so it's and it has
it's 5e, correct? 5e?
Yeah, it's 5e. Yeah, it's 5e. And it has and the maps has a sample of it. So I think that's from my perspective, it's awesome, because I can take this, I can integrate it, homebrew it with it and stuff. So that was that. And then we have Age of Worms coming in on 6th place, because overall it's great. The only thing that it didn't get, it got an 888, so it was across the board for Age of Worms, because it has gorgeous maps, a lot of cool illustrations. Not as much as the Expedition to Ruins of GREYHAWK, because it's not a 256-page book, but it's up there. And it's solid, chock full of awesome locations, NPCs, magic items, and backstories we get to see of the whole area, from Diamond Lake to the city of GREYHAWK up to the Rift Canyon. and it also well integrated into GREYHAWK.
I linked Cannibal Publishing's download for Qualish in chat.
Yeah. And then on 7th place, I have Savage Tide because it's the same way. And Savage Tide also have tons of cool lore that it's even better. It was a little bit less interesting to me in illustration and map-wise than Age of Worms. But when it comes to lore, it's one of these that all the Hextorian stuff and Siege and that was dynamite, super cool. And Diamond Lake, we got a whole... We got lots of Savage Tide. We got lots of like Sasserine. We got a whole new city and like a mini setting, which I think was really, really useful. So that one up there. And then we have the Star Cairns that I think is on 9th place. That I think for me it's interesting because it ties into ancient GREYHAWK lore and its location, and for its time it was really well mapped. And you got from the regional map to the different cairns and the different rooms, and I understood how it worked, so to speak, put together. And they try to put it into the setting really well, so to speak. So
it's definitely that trilogy by far the best of the three.
Yeah,
because with Lizardred is you really can go, your head can explode, and then Doom Grinder, so.
And then comes what I need to defend this one too, the Fate of Istus. As an adventure, I totally get it. It's probably not much fun at all. It was in that sense. But for someone who wants to know about the setting and map it and understand the setting and get lore from it, this is actually a little bit of a gold mine. Meaning you got a whole bunch of cities presented. The maps aren't that good, but they give a good and basic understanding. And most of the city maps actually have good concepts of the cities. They look like believable fantasy cities, even if the maps aren't that good quality. They, as a concept, I like them. So they were aiming high when it came to that. So the lore and stuff I got out of it was really good, and they tried a decent job of integrating it into it. So those are my top 10s. When it comes to honorable mentions, we have more Age of Worms stuff, but Return of the Eight is a big one. Roger E. Moore needs to get acknowledgement for that one because it's chock full of cool lore and well integrated into the setting. The maps and illustrations are that was, if illustrated better, would have bumped really high up and mapped better. And then we have L2 and Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure and L2 I think are solid in this case too. And Rary the Trader is really high because it presents the bright desert and a lot of stuff around it and has a lot of cool lore and is well integrated into GREYHAWK as a whole, so to speak. And one other from Dungeon Magazine, The Shadows of Spine Castle, I think is also a gem from a setting perspective, and it has cool maps, a lore, it presents an area, a place in GREYHAWK, and it presents it really well and integrates into the setting. So that's my honorable mentions as well. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to do William Henry Dvorak's. There's Rick's. Keep that up there. We'll put that. Back to that. All right, so let me go. William, this is the one where the number one, we're gonna have a little discussion on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. His number one is Night's Dark Terror, B10.
You see, that's an example of an adventure that would have been on my top 10 list, probably even number one, but it's not GREYHAWK.
Okay.
Yeah. My favorite GREYHAWK adventure is The Shadows over Bogenhofen, which is a Warhammer adventure.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't have we'll talk Dark Tower or any of the ones I put in my GREYHAWK that aren't true.
Oh,
so
by the way, Jay, I need to mention the Doom Grinder got a map 9 on score map for maps because it has one of the best GREYHAWK maps ever. Because that was the area map in Doom Grinder is fantastic. It's one of the best GREYHAWK cartography ever made. It's just bad that it ended up in that module, but it's one of the best. We got a 9, so it's like a middle of the road when it comes to I just wanted to mention it was one of the 9s. Yeah.
Saltmarsh is up there too. Once again, Saltmarsh is up there all the time with everyone. Lost City, Third. Right. Horror in the Hill by Doug Niles. Another one. Is it GREYHAWK?
Yeah, it's
right.
It wasn't quite Mystara. I think they started making the B series absolutely Mystara a little bit after that. But yeah.
Yeah, Lost City was backdoored in. Yep, I agree.
We're gonna need to Isle of Dread that thing.
Yeah. Isle of Dread. Here's the highest Isle of Dread shows up on any list is 5 here. So Keep on the Borderlands 6th. White Plume Mountain 7th. First showing of Beyond the Crystal Cave, which is a really interesting adventure. You know. Shadowed Keep on the Borderlands, Raging Swan, Creighton Broadhurst. Another mini setting and sandbox adventure combo of Hamlet and Keep on the Borderlands. Layout is great, and the dungeon is Jack Wade. So I did not. Will went a little off the rails a little bit here, but that's okay. That's okay. Dragon Mountain is another one. It's like, has anyone placed that in their GREYHAWK?
I ran it completely, but not in GREYHAWK.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a generic module.
Yeah.
Late,
it could be pretty easily put
2E.
into GREYHAWK, I think, though, in fairness.
Easily, yeah.
Let's just put Mithranor in there. Come on.
Yeah. First appearance of Red Hand of Doom. Right?
Adventure.
Yeah. Massive Adventure, Heroic Adventure on the grand scale, and then Village of Hamlet 12th. Alrighty. That just leaves me. Now I didn't make a list up like this because I incorporated it right into the spreadsheet. I'm trying not to give trying not to give away too much. So let me see if I did this right. I inverted it, and I think I could blow it up a little bit. All right, yeah, this is a mess you can't see. Here we go. All right, I got 13s are honorable mentions, so I got it in reverse. So Keep on the Borderlands, Dark Druids, The Return to White Plume Mountain, which I liked a lot more than the original White Plume Mountain. I really liked it.
I almost made it into my.
I really like that. Too. Ghost Tower is The Ruins of Noel Dare is one of my favorite dungeon adventures. It takes place right in the Wild Coast. It's got that Cambion demon in it. I liked it. I thought it was good. It's on Anna's map. I put Hidden Temple of the Ruthnell in there just so people wouldn't forget the shit I went through for 3 years trying to get that Vortex magazine, get that adventure, right? Out of Vortex magazine. It's a second edition adventure, the Vortex magazine number 8. So I put that on there. And now here are mine in reverse. So I got The Age of Worms. Now I've only run a couple of them, but I respect the amount of work and that everyone's done on that. So that's why I put that on my list at 12th. Tomb of the Lizard King. No one has put that up anywhere. I'm the only one. 11. I think Sakatha is a unbelievable baddie, but what do I know? I also ran that for my 1,000th adventure. I did a rerun of it. We ran it all day long with my guys. June of 20. My God, was it 23 now? I lose track of time. 1,000th adventure. Ravager of Time. Another one that didn't appear anywhere else. UK series one. With Nuala. I love that adventure. It's kind of a niche on that. Bonehill 9th. Balchan's Beacon 8th. Another one that doesn't appear on anyone else's list. I'm running that July 5th, 24 hours live stream until we're done. Why? Because I'm stupid and crazy. Because I was asked to run another 24-hour stream like I did last year, but I'm not running 3 groups. It's going to be 1 group. I can't do 3 separate adventures. It was too much, so I'm running 1 group through. I'm going to rerun that. Against the Giants, 7th. All right. Expeditions, Erik, 6th. Really loved it. Return of the 8, 5th. Vault of the Drow, 4th. Yeah, D1 through 3, but Vault of the Drow in particular. And then my top 3 go Tharizdun, Shokanth, and then Temple of Elemental Evil. I don't have Hamlet on here, but it didn't matter. So,
I mean, you kind of do.
Yeah, kind of, but I don't have it specifically. Okay.
Question for you. I got a question, Jay.
Yeah, please.
Did anybody include Return to Moacan?
No, I have it right here.
I didn't.
I finally tracked down a copy, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, I have it right here at the bottom of this pile. If I pull it out, it's soft cover. If I pull it out, this entire pile will go down. It's 4th edition, isn't it? In 4th?
I think so. Is it Stephen Ratty McFarlane work on that?
No, it's
the original author did it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, Howard Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson,
he spelled it differently because so that
copyright.
Yeah, for copyright purposes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I got
an unofficial thing.
No, yeah.
Well, because I thought they did a revisit of that adventure for like whatever eventually became Adventures League, like their RPG.
He published it, or
hold on,
some small publisher did it, but it was not an official WotC.
Hold on 1 second.
It flew past me.
I have it right here.
I'm probably getting it confused.
I think I've heard about it, but I don't think I have a.
I'm probably gonna regret this.
Uh-oh.
I'm watching him pick up these piles. So just like I'm just waiting because I know what happens.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with Vortex Magazine 1 through 7? Throw that away.
Yeah. Only Vortex 8. It's the only one with.
They're only like $150 each or something.
Yeah, it's the only. I'll pull that out in a second too. Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yeah. Come on, Chan. Yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not on my radar at all. Wow.
Yeah. So if you, I know Josh Pop Zarathon knows how to get them. He's the one that showed me. He's the one that showed me how to order them. Yeah. So 1 second here. Let me find it. So here is Hidden Temple of the Rifnel is in this. That's Vortex.
They're on eBay.
That's Vortex number 8. Vortex number 8?
No, Timon.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I have that.
What, Vortex?
I didn't until a couple months ago.
Yeah, I don't think I have that Vortex one. I do have another like weird, like early 3E non-Wizards GREYHAWK adventure that's in like an independent magazine somewhere.
I was gonna say I have a ton of PDFs of stuff that I wondered where they came from over the years, and I'm like, oh yeah, that came from that, and I forgot it.
So there's a lot of really, stuff out there that, like another one is instead of Kingdom of the Ghouls, what's it called? The 5e version. I have that over there. Empire of the Ghouls on my shelf right there. I have that in 5e from Cobalt Press. Yeah, that's another re-sequel on it. So, all right, what's everyone's thoughts at this point? I think we can do a clear-cut top 15. It gets a little murky from 16 to 20, so we're gonna decide here. I have it done, but there's a bunch of ties. In particular, now with the show can't change, there's even more ties. So we're gonna have to make some decisions. This group here. So the 5 of us will get to decide. Are you ready? I'm gonna do these in reverse order. Okay. I'm gonna bring up the cover for each so that you guys on what is ranked. Give me 1 second here. I had this.
Wait a second. There's 6 of us. Who doesn't get a vote?
That must be Jay.
We're gonna all come to a consensus. We don't decide unless we're
It's Sam. Sam's the swing vote.
Yeah, luckily we don't have any iconoclasts in this group.
He's
who
a
are
judge.
Trying to push against Sam.
All right, here we go.
Sam, you don't get to vote, but you get to veto us if we go off.
So I'm going to put the
heresy
number 15 in. This is all based on the point system I created. Number 50. Here we go. 15. Believe it or not, Savage Tide.
Wow.
Made it to 15th.
Oh, if you included the player's guide, I would have put that first. But
well, yeah, I know. That's just what I'm showing.
I'm just kidding.
Savage Tide ekes out Tomb of Horrors by 1 point.
Wow.
Okay. So Savage Tide is 15th. No Tomb of
penicillin.
No Tomb of Horrors at all on this list.
Wow.
All right. So that's number 15. Number 14.
Sam has declared heresy already.
The Secret of Bone Hill is 14th with 12 points. Now, like I said, it's a lot of the Assassin's Knots were low votes. So there's a couple high votes for this. In particular, let's see, I had it 9th, Mike had it 4th, and Alan Grodog had it 5th, and that really pumped it up a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Secret of Bone Hill by Leonard Lakofka is 14th. Okay. 13th, This is all due to Sam.
Oh.
GREYHAWK ruins. Because he made it. He put this number 1. So, because that was number 1 on his, Mike had it 7th, Joe Bloch had it 11th. That's only votes for it, or 3 people out of 11. But it is that because of the number 1 by Sam. So there you go. 13th.
Anybody else remember when that was the most expensive GREYHAWK backlist item to purchase as a fan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was like
I don't think its price has changed substantially.
No, it was like $60 back then.
$60 is what I had it in my head.
Yeah,
and that seemed
the
expensive.
high end I ever saw
then.
it was like about $120 on eBay. It was the high end.
If it had another 6 months in development, I think it would rate higher from that
for
one.
Sure.
Almost undoubtedly, yeah.
Give it another 80 pages too while we're at it.
Well, let's not wish too extreme.
Number 12. And by the way, I'm going to do a full post on this on all the sites like I do for previews and stuff, so we'll have everything. Number 12, Age of Worms.
Yep.
Right.
Solid.
Erik, you got 3 major things on here, man. Yep. Number 12 is Age of Worms with 15 points. Definitely deserves to be on the list.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. Number 11. Still no ties at this point. The original White Plume Mountain is 11th. Probably if I had not done it, the return to, I probably would have bumped it up a couple spots, maybe 1 or 2. But no, only 1 spot because there's a big jump after 11. The points really jump up after 11. There's 10 real solid ones. So that is number 2. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I did it out of order. That was White Plume Mountain was 11. Yep. Okay. Number 10.
It's a classic.
10. Return of the 8.
Yep.
Solid. Only 2, really, the hardcore 2E one, right? Mostly everything's either 3rd edition or 1st, except for Return of the 8.
It's nice to see something from that era of the setting.
Yeah.
I remember the old GREYHAWK 98 seminars when they were talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, that was
Erik had just come on board at that time.
Yeah, I think I was wearing diapers on those seminars.
Now the fun begins. For 7th, 8th, and 9th, I have a 3-way tie.
Okay.
Here we go.
So how you want to do this, Jay? You want to rank each of these ties?
We're going to decide which of the 3 goes 7. This is for then they all got 23 points for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Erik, don't feel shy about this. Expeditions is 1. Okay.
Okay.
As high as possible.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh my God. I have so many things open.
I'm surprised you haven't crashed.
Yeah. Please don't say that.
You're going crazy.
Where the hell is it? Oh my God, I can't find it. Give me 1 second here. And Forgotten Temple of Tharisden.
There we go. Yeah.
This is going to be tough.
And
Mike's and Mordecai's Fantastic Adventure.
Oh my God! I recuse myself from this discussion.
There are 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Problem is, I love Tharisden so much, but Tharisden as a character has been so overused. I feel like I want to punish the module because later authors have abused the character so much. But the module itself is brilliant because it's like character horror. It's not body. It's like the equivalent of body horror, but you actually have the module forces you to change your character as you go into the sub temple thing. So it's a brilliant module, but it opened the floodgates for everything. Tharisden is at the bottom of everything.
Well, you and I have this talk about the elder elemental god in Tharisden all the time. We fight that on posts constantly, Joe. You and I on Facebook. They're the same. The elder god in Tharisden are the same. We hear it over and over again, and then you and I have to get on there and tell them no. So
if it wasn't Tharisden, it was Ayus every time.
Yeah, now it's Vecna. It's yeah.
Yeah, Vecna would be like a close third.
So my suggestion is Tharizdun, then Morning Canaans, then Expedition.
I'll buy that.
Well, yeah, I agree with Jay.
That's from top. That's from top.
7th is Tharizdun, 8th is Morning Canaans, 9th is. You guys okay with that?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it opposite, but anyway, I'm okay with it. Yep.
I'll buy that for $1.
I think I can't argue that our pastiche belongs in the same.
Will I get you both?
To be there. I think Tharizdun is. Yeah.
Have you run Tharizdun?
These are all great adventures.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against any of them.
Eric, have you run Tharizdun?
No, and that's the one. Obviously, it's the one I have the least experience with.
Oh man, dude, it is independent of Shokanth, right? It's so cool because it's in reverse. The fight, like I said, the fights at the beginning, the big fights at the beginning, and then it's like, what do we do next, and where do we go, and it gets worse and worse and worse.
And it corrupts you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It corrupt your character.
And it permanent. You could permanently, just like Sphere of Annihilation level, poof, character's gone.
Anna, when you were doing your art evaluation, your sort of mise en scène sort of thing, how did you rate the cover of the Tharizdun adventure?
I rated that high. Okay. Yeah. The problem was that it rated low because there wasn't that much other lore you can extract of it, and that was what I was why it score higher, because there wasn't no places, there wasn't that much other stuff, so to speak. So that's why it didn't. Otherwise, it would have gone fairly high because it had cool art and stuff for its time.
The cover is weird because it actually shows something that's in the module, but it's tucked away and hidden.
Right.
In the text.
Absolutely.
But to realize what you're seeing on the cover.
And it's one of the covers that was never redone. The Monochrome series were all redone for the most part. That one wasn't redone.
Yeah, I did not like it as a kid, but it's
because it looks
on me over the years.
Once you find out where it is.
Yeah, but it looks like this flowery kind of cute little thing, and I was expecting some really horror when I understood what it was, and it was like this cute little kind of flowery pale pink or like purple and stuff. So but now it grew on me. Yeah.
So
still shall be your doom.
Here's how close it is between 9 and 4. All 7, 8, 9 had 23 points. 4, 5, 6 had 24. That's how close 6 adventures were.
Well, we're getting into the best stuff.
Yes. So here we go for the next 3 that are tied at 24.
So Eric, you're going to run Forgotten Temple at GaryCon next year, right?
Maybe.
It should.
Yeah.
You've got your adventure to run for GaryCon now.
Yeah.
These 3 are all tied against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you hiding?
As a kid, I always mistake against the Giants.
Vault to the Drow?
Giants, so that was always hilarious.
D1 3 Vault to the Drow.
So wait, just
no, D1 through 3, because they never were all together. Yeah, Vault to the Drow, and then lastly, Shokanth.
Oh
man. Yes. They're all tied for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
I would probably go top to bottom, the best to least. Solchkonth, what's the middle one?
Vault of the Drow.
Vault of the Drow, and then Giants.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah.
Just for lore.
Yep.
I'd go Solchkonth, Giants, then Drow.
I'll stick with Shokanth, Drow, Giants. So it's almost all the same, but so Sam's only it differs between 5 and 6. Are we in agreement?
Yep.
Okay.
So what do we say it one more
Shokanth is 4th.
Yeah, I mean just
come on. 5th is Vault of the Drow. 6th is against the Giants. Fair. Okay. Top 3. Any guesses?
Elemental
Hamlet's
Evil has to be it. Yeah,
Hamlet's going to be number 1.
Elemental Evil, Hamlet. Yeah.
Got to be puppets.
Thanks, Gorgon.
The Forest Oracle.
Patriots of Ulick, I think we've heard a lot about tonight.
I was just going to say, you almost mentioned I'm going to take my bottom three when we end this discussion. Yep.
Oh, that'd be
Erik,
let me say something here. The guy who wrote Patriots of Ulick keeps pinging me on Facebook, asking me when I'm going to review it.
Is that Anthony? Who's that? Anthony Pryor?
I think so. And I'm like, yeah, it's coming. I'll get into the mall.
Well, he did Rally to if it's Anthony Pryor, he did Rally to Trader as well.
Top adventure has to be Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil.
No. All right, so we haven't done this yet.
Gets kicked off.
Before we do the top three, no. Here's my standard wall of fame: 24 adventures that were in my campaign that are very vital to what has happened in 45 years. And then Gary, of course, has to bust my balls.
Gary Julian, he had,
and he makes this thing.
That was awesome. He made a.
He makes this
ball
thing.
Of shame.
Look, Veil of the Mage, Castle Greyhawk, Doom Grinder, Child's Play, Gargoyle, Return to Temple of Elemental Evil. What the fuck? Something about Holy crap, bugs. Yeah, Falcon's Revenge. Yes. Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. So there you go.
What's next to the Expedition of the Berry Peaks there on the right?
Wait a minute. That's Harbinger of Darkness. Oh. That's one of the first independent ones we ever did. That's a really cool venture. It's by Underworld Publishing. You probably can find that Fortress Elendar and Dark Tower are the three that are not TSR make that are on my wall of fame for Dark. And we had this discussion about Dark Tower where it's placed on Anna's map and all. What a great adventure! And Fortress Elendar is just it's cool.
Dark Tower was one of the first non-TSR. I think it might have been the first non-TSR thing I ever bought.
Yeah, well, it was that or Thracia. Thracia was out at the time too. If you had caverns, the original caverns of Thracia, and Thieves of Fortress Madagascar, and then what's the one with all the undead in it? The big one that Judges Guild has.
Temple of Ra, Cursed by Set.
No, God, it's gonna drive me. Tegel Manor, thank you, Norker. Tegel Manor,
Okay. Dwarven Glory Hole.
Yeah, Glory Hole Mine. Where is Blue? Where is Dark Tower on Anna's map? Will and I had a little argument about this on Facebook the other day.
I moved it around a bit too. I have to say.
You moved it?
The original. Yeah, I moved it from the earliest version until when we started talking about it in show, and I realized more what it is. Then I moved it to a little bit better location. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's in the northern area of Keeland, Grand March, and the Lort Mills where they meet in a valley. There's nothing, river valley where there's nothing else. So yeah, just to put that up there.
All right. Up in the hidden valley in the Lort Mills. Yep.
Jay, before you move on, the number 2 adventure, or one of the high adventures on there was Veil of the Mage. In the last 20 years, has anyone done anything interesting?
Rick has an entire.
I have.
Rick has done an entire book on it.
Actually, I did another book on it. I'm actually going to. I'm in the process. In fact, actually, I have InDesign up right now. I'm working on the layouts of an update for it for people who use Fifth. So
okay, good.
Cool. It'll still have a lot of the information.
I'm going to be pumping all those things on my blog. So
and I'm working on that for my next campaign after my Shield Lens campaign. So
yeah. If you need Veil of the Mage stuff, just ask, because I had to do a major cleanup of that area.
Well, yeah, what a mismatch between like something that sounds so interesting and cool on the face of it.
Veil of the Mage was just a complete ball drop.
2 NPCs and an empty map is pretty much.
I want to incorporate the Maze of Zane stuff because
I do too.
It just seems like such a natural.
And it's Great Kingdom-y, which is kind of fun, I think.
Yeah.
1 second here. I'm trying to.
I've even added to Veil of the Mage. I've even added some new NPCs. That area was just so lacking on NPCs. I'm like, you're running an entire kingdom on 3 people. I call bullshit. So I added a whole bunch of new ones. I updated them.
Did you incorporate that? One of the members of the Circle of Eight, is it Dromage or Nystel? One of them.
Dromage didn't like him. Almazad didn't like him. I'm pretty much.
Did you bring in any of the Gord the Rogue stuff with the?
Oh, the Demiurge.
I'd love to bring the Gord the Rogue stuff in, but I kept it out only because there was a big conflict. I make a brief mention of it, but that's just it. I leave it as a brief mention with the Demiurge. but I don't put anything else in there because I didn't want to cross over into Gary's IP, because when I did that was back in like early 2000s, first version. So it's probably still somewhere on the web. If not the old version, I've still got it on my computer. So, but the new version is going to be out, and it's going to be beautiful. The new version is going to be beautiful. So,
give me 1 second here. I'm just I'm recompiling something because of those. The order of those was out of order, from the list there. Just give me 1 second here. I'm almost got it.
While you're doing that, I'll just say that the Veil of the Mage is going to have. I've been going through Adobe stock art and actually picking out people that are artists that are using it, so that I can put it into my stuff. I've been picking through the artwork, and let me tell you how much of a pain that is, because you learn other stuff. I'm like, okay, that's random generated, that's random generated, that's random generated. Aha, artist.
Question for guess. Who's going to write an adventure that begins with the party staring at a statue of Thrommel and Altamir? That's not funny, miss.
Does the statue have fangs?
Yes.
That's awesome, Moose.
I've never. It's going to end one day. I promise. Top 3.
Okay.
Hamlet, Saltmarsh, and I can't remember the other one that kept coming up.
Number 3, Temple of Elemental Evil.
Oh,
third.
Hamlet and Temple, maybe.
That's number 3. Number 2,
Saltmarsh.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
I know I am the outlier. I don't like Saltmarsh.
Yeah,
I
didn't vote for it either.
Joe, it's not. Yeah, it's not that high on my list either.
What what don't you like about it, Joe?
I don't. I think it's the structure. It's like it's not structured like a traditional adventure, and therefore, as a kid, I didn't get it. And 12-year-old Joe didn't like it, so 58-year-old Joe doesn't like it either.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, it's not that integrated into GREYHAWK in that sense. It's a cool, maybe it's a cool adventure, but it just doesn't give me the GREYHAWK vibes.
It's in that little sliver between the swamp and the forest, and you're right. It doesn't give you any of the, it doesn't feel like it's part of Kaoland or part of
exactly.
anything.
Which
is what makes it so easy to integrate into other things.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's a nice setup for making that whole region into GREYHAWK's version of Lovecraft Country. So it works for me.
There's a lot of there's a ton of adventures down in that area. You got Cthulhu Lizard King, Baltron's Beacon, Horror in the Holes. You got a whole bunch of stuff that's right in that area. In that lower spot that, like, a lot of people, for years I didn't realize that was part of Kaoland. I'm like, oh yeah, this is. So and number 1 is Hamlet.
Hamlet alone,
of course.
Hamlet alone
must be.
It's a worthy
Hamlet
winner.
alone.
Yep.
It's so good.
Yep.
Here is the spreadsheet. As you can see, Hamlet eked out Saltmarsh by 1 point.
Oh wow.
That's it. On the way I did things. So there you go. Hamlet, and then
remember, there was like a 6-year period where we just had Hamlet, and they kept teasing Temple of Elemental Evil. And it was just so perfect in and of itself. And you didn't need to go to the Nulb in the temple. You could I did whole campaigns based in Hamlet that didn't have anything to do with the temple, because for 6 years we didn't have the temple to go to.
Yep.
So
how was the reception of Temple of Elemental? Was it disappointment when it came, or was it like, wow, this is so cool? What was the initial reaction?
Because here's my tragic story. I was the guy who bought the first ever copy of Temple of Elemental Evil. I was at the front of the Running of the Nerds.
because it's like,
it's out! And I went, they opened the door. I went, I got it. Gary signed it. First ever sold. Gary, okay, fine. And then I got another one because I didn't want to ruin that one. And then I ended up selling that one for like a pittance for like.
Oh my God!
Oh God, that could have been.
No, I mention this every time I can in case the person who bought it from me
feels bad for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, but it was at the time it was like, oh my God, this is great. And then when you started reading it, it was like, this is okay. And there were like the editing issues. They lost entire paragraphs of Hamlet, and
the bottom level feels totally unfinished.
The bottom level is garbage. I mean, it was just, and I know that sounds overly harsh, but it needed to be a lot more than it was.
Yeah. And you had 7 years of build-up anticipation. That
exactly.
must be really hard to fill those shoes.
It could never be good enough to fill that anticipation that we all had. Frank did a yeoman's work with what he had, but my God, it was ultimately at the the initial flash of, wow, this is awesome, we finally got it, and then a month later it's like,
two things for me. One, it needs a lot of those side quests added in. It needs a lot of side stuff really put in. All the hints for it are there. They're not bad, but it really needs a little more filling out there. And every time I've run it, like most really extended dungeons, it suffers from exhaustion.
100%.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, never mind the issues, the flaws with the lowest level. You're just burned out with this stupid dungeon by the time you get there. And that's just the lowest level without even getting to the nodes, which are even worse.
I never ran the nodes.
Yeah, the reason I gave it,
I envy you.
It's on third on my list, and the reason for that is that one, it has excellent for its time, excellent cartography from where it is in the world. You have a view from what it looks like from the outside. You get excellent map.
That big hex map they did.
Yeah, exactly. All of that.
Incredible.
Exactly. That was
one of the best covers they ever did too.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Yeah, I agree there.
The cover.
Yeah, and also for me, it gave a number of good locations that could be used. That was firmly grounded in GREYHAWK and locations. So from lore-wise, it was fantastic in that sense. But I agree, as an adventure, it was, especially when the further down you go, the more screwy it gets, and I don't like it at all at the bottom. So but
Sam, Sam, if you're looking for side quests for this thing, go on DM's Guild, because you can't swing a dead cat without finding somebody publishing something.
I was going to say, Bloch, you wrote a prequel to the whole thing.
I wrote the prequel. It's a free download. Journey to Hamlet, just to introduce the idea that there's factions. But my God, people are just insanely detailing every aspect of the Kron Hills and the gnarly forest and everything. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's really overdone.
Right. Well, like I say. But that's what we wanted back then. We'd have liked that a lot more.
Yeah. For me, the disappointment set in really, really early, because Village of Hamlet's talking up Nulb as this evil town that's going to be so rad, and Village of Hamlet did such a great job, with an awesome map and a whole bunch of key encounter location. And then Nulb in the actual module is
it's 6 locations or something in the whole
village. It's got some great Larry Elmore pictures in there, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still like Temple of Elemental Evil for all of its flaws, but it's hard to discuss it without.
It has some great stuff in it, but
it's
ultimately drops the ball.
It's a haze of nostalgia from our generation too. I bet.
Did we? Okay, here's another question I have, because you guys have been plugged into GREYHAWK the whole time, and I've stepped away for a little bit. In the last 20 years, has anyone that whole Prince Thrommel clue? What is it in 3 on 6 lies 9? Is that seriously referring to his character level? Is that the how that what?
Sam, explain to us. Yep.
It's the level. It's the level in the room number, and in the level of the dungeon, but that the player characters can never know at least 2 of those 3 things ever.
Okay, Joe and Sam, you need to explain to us.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around why the Kingdom of Nyrond hired the Scarlet Brotherhood to kidnap Thrommel. So I haven't even gotten to the
clue.
I still think that was a joke, kind of. I don't think it was serious. Yeah.
I did a whole video on it. I think it
I
makes sense
know, and it was
I can see the politics one, but that's why when I rated T1 was on my list, and then quote T3, the upper levels of the dungeon.
Yeah.
No, the lower levels and the lowest level and the nodes, no. But the top 3 levels, those are interesting.
Yep.
Hey, I'm the only one to put Temple number 1.
Even those upper
to
levels
be fair,
are
I
just
put
an
it as number
endurance
2.
test, though, man. It's tough to.
I put it as number 2, but my reasoning was
put it
because
in
of
number
all
3.
the
Yeah.
like I said, all the different stuff going on, but the village. The village was probably one of the main things because, again, like I said, that sandbox method ended up being used.
It's just like Salt Marsh. You can't run U1, then U2, then U3, one after the other. It doesn't work with levels. They're not even close on the level variance, right?
It depends on what you consider gold for XP. if you consider all the pirate loot, and if you consider selling the ship as gold that generates XP, then yes.
Oh my God.
What self-respecting group of adventurers doesn't keep the free ship?
Well, yeah, that's. But
Oh, and in Hamlet, Lareth has this enormous cachet of treasure. So that jumps the PCs up to like 3rd level.
Yes.
He also has a staff of striking that can one-shot characters.
So my number 1 regret was I have number 2 regrets: killing off characters and published source. Lareth, and Drelsna. They're my 2 that I wish I had killed when they encountered them in adventures, because you could have developed them up. I know you can bring anything back, but it just seems like at that point. But Lareth is like.
As an aside, the Temple of Elemental Evil novel is actually pretty decent.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's not top tier. It's not one of the Pauly Kid things, and it's not obviously Gary, but it's not in the realm of Against the Giants either. It's a solid middle of the road GREYHAWK novel.
But back in the day, I had a horrible argument with someone on GREYHAWK about whether the PC should get XP for the gold in Lareth's stash.
They have to. That's the only way they can get anywhere near the temple.
You got to do other side quests, guys.
It's not on Lareth. It's not being guarded. Therefore, they don't get XP.
Oh, good Lord.
You got it. I don't use gold XP ever. I've never done it.
I've never
done
it.
So
it was. One of the things I would note, this is mentioned, I think, Erik mentioned it, about sandboxy stuff. So, Tunlock, Hamlet, Salt Marsh, just U1, N1, Reptile or Lane, UK 2 and 3, Sentinel and Gauntlet.
In there too.
As like an ultimate level 1 to 4, or maybe even 5, sandbox. You massage them a bit, you change the locations, you put them all together, and you've just got stuff where people could go anywhere. And that if we did cheesy stuff, that would have been like my number 1 on the list.
Let me do something here. So overall, as I'm bringing something else up, is everyone okay with those top 15? Is there something you think that's glaring? I think it's really it worked.
The glaring omission for me is Against the Call to the Reptile God should be in that list, in my opinion. But other than that,
Erik,
for me, it was the lack of GREYHAWK integration. Otherwise, it would have been sky high. But meaning it wasn't set in the setting. It didn't give us more. And
why did we need a new goddess of agriculture? Why couldn't we use?
Marika.
Yes.
I mean, come on, that's super cool.
It is cool.
Marika is really cool, but it's not integrated into the setting much.
I think I rate that more from like in-play experience rather than GREYHAWK lore. Like, I'm fine. I'm not arguing we changed the list.
No.
I look over and it's like, am I satisfied? I'm mostly satisfied.
Me too. I just want to show this. This is all 11. You rated it 3rd, and honorable mention was to Carlos. That is it out of 11 people.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I'm.
Yeah, I mean, so like that. At least, I'm just showing.
Take it up with Stern Alia.
Yeah, there's some things here that are pretty interesting when you look at this. Isle of the Ape didn't get a lot of love either.
I gave it an honorable mention. I think that was it.
I need to mention one that almost made it into my honoraries list was Shackle City hardback.
Yeah, Shackle City was good too.
No one even put that in an honorable mention.
That was so close. That was the one that was closest to getting
really
into. Oh yeah, because but it was lack of GREYHAWK integration. Otherwise, it scored really high on maps and all this stuff. So yeah. No, it wasn't. Exactly. That's
it was
why
like until I got hired, then it became GREYHAWK.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was shoehorned in.
Where are we going to put it?
Yeah. That's why you got
if
to
this wasn't adventures, if this was just GREYHAWK products, it would be a very different
that
thing.
would actually be a pretty fun thing
no,
to
but
do.
that we said, I said to Jay when we started, we should do another one for source books and so on in like 6
City
months.
of GREYHAWK, you know, all that.
David the Undying, like holy shit.
Exactly. We should do it. We should rate all the source books and reference material and stuff in another show. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do source book.
The gold box or the Living GREYHAWK Gazetteer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all of that stuff. So yeah,
I'd love to do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun.
We'll have some wall of shame too.
You know, Jay,
we need the wall of shame as well.
At some point, I want to run the openings of the Dragon Adventure Paths, but especially for the first two, I like the openings. The endings seem, very wear out to me.
Yeah.
Well,
but
the ones
I've
we
never
do
run
now
them,
for
so I don't
Pathfinder are actually, they tend to be shorter, and that's part of the problem with the Adventure Path is similar to the adventure with the Super Dungeon. It just is a lot to do. You just kind of, at a certain point, it's easy to get bored. And groups get split up.
But the difference between an Adventure Path and a Mega Dungeon is that you can use the Mega Dungeon as kind of like a tent pole and go there whenever you want to.
I kind of agree with that too. That's
and then, but an Adventure Path, you're on the rails. You're going to get there to the end.
Well, and there might be a sense too where it's like if you peter out on, say, Temple of Elemental Evil, okay, whatever, and maybe I'll go back and play it sometime or whatever. But if you peter out in the middle of a campaign, you don't get the payoff. If you've already 2/3 of the way through, you certainly probably don't want to play the whole storyline again. The replayability of those narrative adventures, I don't think is anywhere near as strong.
That happened to me in Night Below. My players got to
it's so long.
The Kuatoa City, and they were just burned out. They wanted to finish it, but they didn't want to finish it with those characters. Those characters were like, yeah, we're ready to retire.
Yeah.
We'll bring new characters in to finish, but we're retiring these guys. And I'm like, okay.
So I just wanted to I wanted to show this last time around Temple in Hamlet. Look at sub-adventure. Here's the mode house is here, 665. You got to do some adventures and stuff. There's the only way you're gonna. I'm not doing gold XP. I'm just not doing it. It's I don't want my adventures going up too fast. And
it's written for gold equals XP though, because that was the rule in AD&D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. It was written for that mechanic.
Yeah.
Which is why Lareth has all that gold.
Yep.
Here's the order right here.
We threw away the statues and the statuettes and all the art stuff because we didn't when we were like 16 years old because we didn't realize it was worth a lot. So the DM said, "Well, you don't get any XP because you threw away the stuff because we realized it was money and we didn't realize the art and all the silver thingies and stuff had value." That was funny. He was so angry. Yeah. But and also I want to mention the 3 bottom ones in my when I did my Excel spreadsheet. So third from the bottom is Patriots of Ulick. That's the third one from the bottom. We got a 3 for maps, 4 for locations, and 2 for GREYHAWK integration.
Anna, you are being charitable.
Yes, I know, because I haven't run the adventure.
Maps in that are so bad.
Yeah, I know.
I might put puppets. I might put puppets below that, man.
And then the next one is Bolter's Beacon, which unfortunately for me, because it didn't get one. Yeah, exactly. But for me, it didn't give much because the GREYHAWK integration is 2.
Yeah,
and the locations are 5, so it gives some decent locations you can use and stuff. And the maps are 4, so not. And the very bottom is Child's Play. It's that was the very bottom. Meaning it's no GREYHAWK integration to speak of, and the maps and
is
the
it like a
locations
dream or something like
that?
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
like
so it's for me it's like completely unusable.
Yeah, it never happened.
And we all want to forget that it happened.
Yep.
But Eric, let's talk about puppets. I mean, you got Freddie McCruger back at GaryCon, so I did that for you.
I think it was wonderful. I think all my favorite, GREYHAWK villains. We got Ambi and Keek, right, and then right under that is Freddie McCruger. Number 3.
And you got those figures were awesome. You got the
Oh,
I mean, it's a great point, Jay, because it is what happens at the table and what the GM puts into it, or the DM puts into it.
Have fun with anything,
You can have fun with even crap modules, to be honest.
Yeah. That's it, man. It was a blast. Absolutely.
We had fun with gargoyles as well. So
yeah, we did, and we raised a lot of money. We raised a lot of money.
Only Child's Play remains, and then once we do that, I'm going to start bugging you for Patriots and Elik.
Oh my gosh! So yeah,
and then Doom Grinder.
Oh my god! Oh, yes. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could
Doom
ever.
Grinder.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
Favorite adventure.
You know, I'll have it that the characters have it. It's like a Dallas episode. It's a dream. Yep. Someone, he wakes up at the end. Oh my God! You know, as it goes through, runs straight through GREYHAWK and just, yeah. Can you imagine? Oh my God!
Too bad they had such a wonderful, beautiful map in it, though. That's the Doom Grinder. It has a fantastic map in it. So yeah.
Yeah. Jay, I've got an idea.
Please. Let's hear it.
I love. This has been really fun. Thanks everybody for participating.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
But I love the idea of the source book one. I'm already jotting down my notes.
We'll set that. Yeah,
I think that'd be really fun.
We do that in like 6 months or something.
No, we'll do it. We'll do it at the end of the summer.
Yeah, when it's really appropriate.
A similar thing that I think might be kind of fun is like, and I don't know if I think doing it as a list doesn't, like a ranked list maybe doesn't make sense, but it would be fun to get a group like this, this many people of like experts at this, and have each person kind of pitch like a really obscure like GREYHAWK thing, whether it be a third party thing or whatever, and just like kind of evangelize some of these lesser known.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's like Return to Momoka.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's like, honestly, as excited as I am as Village of Hamlet gets #1, Village of Hamlet doesn't need the PR, at this point in time, right? Like, so I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
Third party near GREYHAWK stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did kind of like the old repairing, like they did back in the day, the old repairing of the keep it on the borderlands type thing, if anybody remembers that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that the Kenzerco, the little keep on the borderlands?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they had to make things as part of their license. They could republish AD&D adventures, but they had to make them like parodies, and so that.
Yes.
Yeah, the Temple of Existential Evil.
Yeah.
So, like I could go all day about why I think Dark Tower is perfect for GREYHAWK.
Yeah,
it's an unbelievable adventure, and it's long. Some of it's just silly stuff in it, just like any adventure. But
Joe, do you consider Dark Tower a mega dungeon? Anyway,
leaning in that direction, but I'm not sure if it passes the threshold.
Well, it's nowhere near a mega.
You got to go down 8 levels. Okay. Yep. You got to go down 8 levels to go up 8 levels in that tower.
I mean, it's pretty big.
It's big.
Size is not the
it's like a sub.
criteria.
Yeah.
Any dungeon that you can finish is not a mega dungeon.
Gotcha. That's a good one. That's a good one, Joe. Yep.
Yeah.
Because mega dungeons, they're always building new things. That's why dwarves have the ability to find new stonework, right?
They're like the universe.
There's a new sky level here. Let's go.
Yeah. They're like the universe. They
expand
faster than you can ever.
Is it a super dungeon?
Yeah, it might
Didn't you do a video differentiating between super dungeons and mega dungeons at one point, Joe, or did I dream that?
You dream that.
Joe, that's a video. We want that because
I'm writing it down, but you dream that.
Yeah. No, that's good, Joe. We need the clarification from an expert here. So yeah.
This is why I love coming on this, is because every time I have a notebook right here. And whenever you see my face going like this, it's because I'm making notes.
Awesome.
Good.
That's a great thing about community, man, is that we all bounce stuff off each other.
Yep.
In fact, it should be the 4 of us, possibly with Carlos, Joe, myself, Erik, and Anna, and Carlos at Page doing that GREYHAWK seminar.
Oh yes, that's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually not running any games. I'm not running any GREYHAWK at Page.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm running.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Because I'm a vendor.
Right.
And I'm also on the
it's tough.
And I'm also running the. I'm running the vendor hall. So I'm running Ogre miniatures on the Thursday night.
You are busy, like crazy.
And then I can't do it anymore. That's like I can't run stuff and be in a vendor hall all day long.
I really want to run my Vecna Dies game with people who actually understand the setting, as opposed to everyone I've ever run it with so far.
Well, we got.
If I could have gone to GaryCon, I would have been 100% down for that, Eric.
Well, I will keep bringing it to GaryCon. So
yeah, I definitely would have jumped on that one. Just that I don't know which character I would have played though. That's my problem.
So
that's a good thing. Is like in most cases, no one has cared one way or the other because they don't have any connection to them. So you could have had your pick of the litter.
So Eric, I have this set Friday at Page for us to double header this. Friday at 9 a.m. Greed is Good is the name of the adventure. And what does it say here? Join the Slav Squad of Eric Mona, Darling Creepshow, and Little Bones for another dangerous mission of this legendary adventuring group. There you go. I'm very basic on that so far. It's so far out. But yeah, from that, I was thinking you would run yours right after that. Okay. And then because I want to play in yours. Yeah.
I want you to play.
Yeah, absolutely. So we double headed that on Friday. So that would be, this is from 9 to 1, and you could run yours from 2 to whatever on Friday.
Yeah, as long as there's like an hour in there for a refractory period, so to speak. That would be
helpful. Tag team out.
That's it. All in the same area. And
but by the way, if you're putting my game on the schedule, it should be a 6-hour game, not a 4-hour.
That's fine. 4 hours. All right, so we run that from. We run that from 2 to 8.
I'm not the only one crazy enough to run a 6-hour game because
that's beautiful.
I put 6-hour game too. Yeah.
It's just like the 4 wasn't long enough.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
I need to dither around for 2 hours.
My Emery Meadows game.
Again, you should do it again, Joe. I mean, I had a blast doing that. We kicked the shit out of them.
Yep.
And it's gone 50-50 every time I've run it at other cons.
Really?
It's like half the time the bad guys win, half the time the good guys win.
Then it's a well-designed scenario if it's very open to who wins, so to speak.
It's all about the leaders.
Have you had the the folks behind the Legends of Greyhawk campaign on your thing yet? They're doing some Emerald Meadows stuff, I know.
No, I have not. You mean Baldwin?
Yeah.
It's not a fan of coming on for. Is that David Christ or is that?
Yeah, but he's got a bunch of other coordinates. Like Tony Winslow Brill is working.
Oh, Tony.
Okay, then we.
Tony, Tony's playing next Saturday.
Yeah, talk to her about
it. Yeah, okay. And Eric Menge's playing next Saturday too, and I know he's part of it as well.
Involved as well.
Yeah. I just.
I'm
just curious to listen to the podcast about it.
I don't think they want to spill the beans too much before Gen Con when it starts, right? I think it starts at Gen Con. Yep. But that's a great idea, and I will try and wean some of that out of them.
When they can.
Astrolier is Jeremy, Tony's fiance, and he's like correct there. So
awesome.
So awesome. All right. So shout out wise, and final discussion point wise, and your thoughts on this, Sam. Tell me what your thoughts and what else is going on. How's that sound?
I think it was a good list. Like I say, I know mine were a bit more outliers. There's a bunch that I simply haven't run. I never had a party high enough for Isle of the Ape. Never really had the interest to run more Castle. I wanted to, but never did it. So my list was a little bit different. And I know my love for GREYHAWK Ruins apparently messed things up.
No, it didn't. It just pushed it up in the top 15. No biggie. It's part of it.
So it was interesting. This was fun. Other stuff, I'm just still working on the usual products, trying to beat Rick into getting out an issue of the Grimoire. And I was working on rewriting the Wars history to try to integrate more of the old stuff that apparently they couldn't use from Gygax's Dragon articles and smooth it out to, make it a little more appealing to people.
It does link up well.
Yeah, it's surprising.
And that's the thing. If you use Gygax's stuff, it links up a whole lot better.
Yeah. The context is really helpful as well.
If you start the wars in 577 effectively instead of 584, 582, it works a whole lot better.
You mean the events in the
Eastern? You don't call it the GREYHAWK War.
Yeah.
If it's just a couple of separate conflicts.
I agree.
That was the other thing I did. I addressed it as completely separate wars. So that's. And now, of course, though, I'm looking to tinker with it and expand some stuff, but I have the core stuff ready. And I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
I really appreciate you participating. Thank you. Most was a blast. And it's going to open up it's going to open up a lot more opportunities. Yeah, the reference guide book I think would be really an unbelievable discussion down the road. We'll do. My guess. I don't know when once I get my hip surgery scheduled, the second one, then I'll figure things out. I know a lot of people have a lot of time. They won't be around over the summer, but we'll figure something out. So Rick, thanks for coming on again, man.
Anytime, man.
Let me see if I
had an interesting time going over all the different stuff. I like throwing in some odd ducks myself in there too.
Yeah.
I wanted to definitely give some love to a lot of stuff, but the other thing is part of the reason I didn't get to say it, I didn't add Shackled City or anything like that, because if I put any more of Eric's stuff in there, I would have been accused of starting up the Dwarven glory hole, and I didn't get that started. So
I appreciate it, my friend.
Look, Doom Grinder weapon lasers in this book from Rick. Yes.
That's what I'm working on, Eric. You got a link to that in your Facebook. If you go to your Facebook, you'll find it.
Thank you.
That is the early community copy right there that I'm working on. Every Greyhawk Magic item from the last 50 years, all in one volume.
It's 167 plus pages.
Well, you're going to bank on that.
Yeah, I'm putting that up on DM's Guild, but I'm putting it up as a pay is what you want. Yep. Because I want people to get the thing and use it. If you want to give me $1, give me $1. If you want to give me 20, give me 20. If you want to give me nothing, I don't care. This is for the community. It's for the group, for everybody. It's not just for me.
Yep.
I'm also, you've got nothing there in the table of contents because you didn't get that one yet.
Yep.
But I'm also working on putting Veil of the Mage up for 5th edition and the new edition, 5.5, I'm just going to call it, for players to kind of see Veil of the Mage from a different aspect. It's going to have a lot of my stuff that I previously included, which is a lot of Veil of the Mage cleanup. Basically, I went through with a garbage truck, threw in there anything that didn't fit and got rid of it, and took what did fit still and fixed it. So there's a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of different stuff. There's a whole bunch of new NPCs. That picture you see in the background, that is the Black One Citadel, Star Shiv.
Awesome.
So fun little piece of artwork that I found and asked about, and the artist said, yeah, go ahead and use it. So that's going to go into Veil of the Mage. I'm also doing Grey Grimoire. And I'm also doing Beyond the Flaness. That's going to be coming up. We've got a whole bunch of stuff we're doing on that. So
you got a lot going on, man.
A ton. I got a ton going on.
Lots and
if
lots.
I can get my work schedule cleaned up some, then I think I'll be good to go.
That's what, like the 4th Beyond the Flaness continuity out there now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, the funny thing is I started the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The big Beyond the Flaness back when I was doing North Journal.
Yeah.
But a lot of people had to back out of it because, well, they had stuff going on in their life. The housing crisis hit, multiple recessions. Sad face for Erik. Paizo lost the license because that was a big kick in the pants to the 4th edition. It's like nobody cared at that point. So.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it wasn't you, man. That was not you at all.
You were the receiving end of all the trouble there. So
does your Beyond the Flaness have the Sagard the Barbarian Kingdom of Hytaxia in it?
We have thought about it. Ironically, we have thought about that.
That might be
it's going to have a whole bunch of stuff in it. It's going to use kind of like the old maps that I had from like 2003. We're going to update that. We're going to kind of look at that over. Probably.
I'm working on that so I got.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
nice. I got it. So I can study it. So yeah.
We'll be begging Anna for maps of the rest of the.
I'm working on my part on that project too. So yeah.
I've got a map of Orc-Reich in my Greyhawk Guide to Orcs in there. So feel free.
Beautiful.
Classic.
Nice. We actually renamed it. Back in 2003, I renamed it to Durak Urtag.
Yeah, it turns out that it actually comes from the Black Moon Chronicles.
Yes. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, it does.
Orc-Reich was a name of the board game from Black Moon Chronicles. There's like a war game, and one of the things is Orc-Reich. It's like, oh, it's actually a thing.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah, I'd love to see a translation.
You need to watch all my videos, Jay.
It comes with
every single one.
Looks like
Joe,
in order.
I only have so many hours in the day with a real job and a family.
80%
and streaming
of them are spending on Twitch.
Yeah. Time, Jay.
You got to do live reaction videos to Joe's content. That's a new thing for your channel. So it'll give you the opportunity to actually watch his videos and monetize.
Oh my god!
One of the fun things will be about Beyond the Furnace is Erik or Durak Tog is actually I've been talking to the guy who's authoring it right now, and I told him, I said, dude, put all the names in Orcish. He's like, what? Put all the names in Orcish. I said, you know, you can have a translation next to it. I said, put them in Orcish. I said, we want to kind of make it feel like its own area, make it feel completely unique. That's what this whole project is about, is to make things feel unique. I'll have Antaria in there, which if anybody knows from years ago, I've had that out since the 90s. Yeah. I was pushing that in the 90s.
There's a resurgence. There's such a GREYHAWK resurgence, which is so exciting. Everyone's really hyped. Well, Rick, thank you so very much. Joe, what's going on, man?
Oh dear Lord. I'm making like the big push on cons this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Con in Florida. That's a new thing. I'm going to be there instead of Connecticut because it's the same weekend, unfortunately. So and I've got more stuff coming out for DM's Guild. I'm actually doing more Beyond the Finesse stuff too. I've got the Shattered Empire,
nice.
the Sundered Empire from Chainmail. And Rick, if you want to use the orc tribe names that I have for Orc-Reich, feel free. This is officially use the names if you want to. For my
I'm passing that on. I'm definitely passing that on.
It's but I'm doing a source book for the Sundered Empire. From the 2001 Chainmail book. I'm doing another Adventures Dark and Deep rule book. Another expansion book for it. Jesus, I'm just doing all kinds of stuff, and I'm continuing my series of GREYHAWK fan reviews. Like, when somebody posts something on DM's Guild, I've been trying to boost it and review it. And I was doing it on the YouTube channel, and that was really too hard. So now I'm doing it on the blog. But everything that somebody posts on DM's Guild is going to get attention, because I just want I want all boats to rise. And if I can, I'm going to try to help that. So
when mine comes out, I'll let you know.
Oh, you won't have to. I will already have bought it, because I go on DM's Guild every day, and it says new, because you can select GREYHAWK, and anything new community created stuff, I just automatically buy it.
So Erik, here's my son playing at the Battle of Emerald Meadows.
Oh yeah,
cool.
We were in the hotel, right, and so moving out the miniatures and all, and there's the group, Andy and my son. There's Joe, Rob, Phantom NJ, myself, and I forget the other gentleman, James. I think he was one of the he was one of the volunteers, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a crew. It was nice. We had a fun time there. Yeah, as you can see, we were wiping the floor with them at the end.
And that's another thing that's coming out. I'm going to be publishing Swords of Battle. Every time I run it at a con, it's a new playtest, so I have to tweak some things. But it's getting there, and eventually it's going to be published. So and it's going to have print and play counters, so you don't have to have $1,000 worth of minutes.
That was a blast. So Joe, thank you very much for participating, man. Really, really appreciate it. That was a lot of fun, and like I said, we'll include everyone who's in this first one and the next one for the reference guide books, definitely. Erik, thanks, man. I know how busy you are. I really appreciate you coming on.
Hey, this is an exciting topic that's near and dear to my heart, so I'm happy to join anytime you're talking about something like this. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Are you gonna let James and Jason know you got 3 on the top 15?
Yeah, it feels really great. Yep. I mean, I appreciate everybody saying such nice things about our contributions.
The work was great work at the time, man. It was great work.
Yeah.
Speaking of great work, I hope check this out. This is the manuscript for the current writing project that I've just basically am finishing this week.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm working on it's an as yet to be formally announced Pathfinder adventure, and I've been working on it for over a decade in one form or another, and it's finally getting finished like next week, and I've crested 105,000 words on it so far. So it is by far the longest single author project I've ever done. So I'm very excited to get that wrapped up. And then I got a whole summer of convention appearances and stuff coming up, including June 12th through the 15th. I'm going to be a guest at the Glass Cannon Network Retreat in Las Vegas, which is going to be a really fun, kind of all-inclusive, event. And then I'm going to be at Gamehole Con in October, and then I'm going to be at Page with you guys in January. So and Gen Con, of course, at Page and at Gamehole. I'm going to be running my Vecna Dies adventure. So if you ever were a little frustrated that your favorite NPCs got murdered as a joke by cheating, we're going to play that encounter the real way and see what happens. And I've done it twice so far, and the Circle of Eight has beaten Vecna in 2 rounds and in 3 rounds.
That's insane.
So at the cost of Tensor dying both times, I will. Tensor really needs to up his survival rating. But yeah, looking forward to playing that more. They're always available for signups when I'm at the show, so keep your eye out for that.
And by the way, we got Darling and Bones are both VIP guested as well at Page now.
Oh, great.
So we got them and Tony and,
that's gonna be
Eric Boyd and Eric Mengi. I mean, it's just crazy how many people are going to be there.
Every day they post some new, and not just GREYHAWK guests. Like there's just like it's astonishing.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of cons, anybody who's in the GREYHAWK community, if you show up to Origins this year, I will be there. It's a local con for me. I'm about an hour and a half away. So
awesome.
Come back to Origins, Erik. We miss you.
I would love to. I'd love to do that someday. I'll keep that in mind.
Garner, send it to me. What's Tuesday the 19th? A week from. Yeah, more than likely I'm available. Wait a minute. Wait, that's not Tuesday's 20th.
June. It's June.
Oh, June?
June 18th through the 22nd.
No. Garner's sending me something. Is it the 20th or the 19th? You let me know. Yep. So, any of us going to North Texas? There was a question in chat. No,
unfortunately not this year.
After this, my health is better next year, after all this bullshit, I'm gonna do a con tour next year. I already told my wife. So 20th, just reach out to me. Just reach out, Garner. I should be good. Yeah. It's a day after. No, wait a minute. When is Memorial Day? Next weekend. I'm losing track of time.
2 weeks.
Everything's a freaking blur. It's just a blur.
19th is before Memorial Day this week.
It's such a blur.
This year.
Anna, you got anything to shout out? Anna, anything to shout out?
Just a little bit. I'll do most of it on
Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. Yeah. But I'll just say thank you to all of you for be part of this exercise. It's been a lot of fun, and it was like it took me deep into a hole, and I've made 15 mapping notes, like a bunch of heraldry I found that I need to do, and a bunch of other stuff, and including Siege Shield. I didn't realize it was in there, but that one, and there's a bunch of other stuff, so to speak. But also, I will be at Gamehole Con this year too. I'm a guest there as well, because I'm doing the map for their organized Gamehole's organized play campaign. The Eastern Marches is one of the biggest commission I've done the last few years. So that one gets a big update for this year too. So, yep. But then on Wednesday I will have some new stuff to talk about as well. So, but I will just thank you everybody for both watching, and Erik and Joe and Rick and Sam and Carlos and others being here. Thank you. This was awesome fun.
Are you ready for another crazily booked week of stuff? I said shit almost. I got 5 streams this week coming up.
Jesus.
I know.
A week of
Wednesday night, we start off with Arcane Deities of GREYHAWK. All right, that's a GREYHAWK Mike idea. So we'll have that. We had Renaissance Hextor last week. We're going to keep it on deities. So Arcane Deities of GREYHAWK. That'll be an interesting discussion with Anna, Mike, and myself. That kicks it off Wednesday. Here's some pictures from the first week of this adventure that I'm running with my group on Thursday night. That was a big fight that we ended up with a bunch of warrior whites, and that is the Narwhal Headhunters Bastion of Undeath. That will finish this up on Thursday. So that's the standard Thursday night game, 7:30. I have a doubleheader Saturday. Yes, I know. Why am I doing stupid stuff like this? But I can't help myself. At noon,
you have a family?
Yes, but here's the thing: my wife works till 4 o'clock on Saturday, then it's going to the Phillies game with her aunt. So I'm home alone.
Are you ever really alone when you're on Twitch, Jay?
No, I'm not. Not really. I mean, the community is awesome. The community is awesome. We got some great people here. That's true. That's true. That's a good point, Eric. Saturday at noon, Curtis is back with a Champions game. Myself and Brett and Coco and the ever mysterious Tim for the first time is playing, which it scares me. So that's at noon. That'll run from noon to 4. Hour or two break. Back with 2 drink minimum. Look at this group. Ed Greenwood, Tony Winslow-Brill, Darling, Bones, Coco, Eric Mengi, Astralier, and Eric Boyd now. I have 8 cat players in this game.
Wow.
All right. And
Who's the caller?
Yeah, what, the call out stuff as we go? Yeah, I know. It's going to be crazy. And that starts at 6 p.m. Rest and relaxation. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to chill out in Altamira. Jeremy, if you're on, you can tell Tony I got a super surprise for her on this. Big surprise. She's going to love it. She's going to love it. And then that's enough for the week. And then next week we'll have, I don't know where Gabbin will be next week. It's going to be hard to top this one. All right, so here's the list again. We got to 15. Thank you all. Thank you, myself, Anna, Eric, Eric Mona, Carlos Lysing, Joseph Bloch, William Henry Dvorak, GREYHAWK Mike Bridges, Les Oblivion Seeker Reno, Sam Wise, Rick Dewey, Carthen Miller, and Alan Growy for your participation. Wouldn't have the list without you guys and gals. So awesome. All right, let's do the giveaway, and then we'll raid into Darling. All right, sound good? Choice of 2 for Classic D&D reprints. Woo! That went better than I expected.
Hey, have fun with it.
It was a lot of work getting that thing.
Yeah.
Anna put the most work in, it appears.
Yeah, really.
Rick, I think, a close second.
Yeah, like I said, I spent like about half an hour to an hour just going over it and typing out like all these like
it's all good.
The reasons why I chose.
Yeah,
this
it was good. I needed it. There's a lot of
Bane!
good came out of it. So yep.
Bane TBC, are you on? You on to? Yep, Bane's in chat. So Bane, you got your choice of 2. Get with me in chat, please. You got it. So grats. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of the evening. See you soon. Thank you all. What a wonderful time. We're going to hit a wrong button, probably. Awesome. See if we can go into a Darling with over 100. That would be awesome. That would be really good. Of course. My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm getting punch drunk. Because I got to work tomorrow. The real job. Everyone knows that. Thank you. We got a large influx of followers over the last couple days, too, and I really appreciate it. Dun, 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 dun. Setting the rate up. Boom. Let's see. Boom. Boom. She may already have a lot of people who went over to her stream from ours. So, all right. 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you soon. See you Wednesday. All right. Awesome. Great. Boom. Add up. Let me turn this off. We are offline.